We just talked for 30 minutes.
It was mostly irrelevant to this.
It was, but like the book
Mostly.
conversation probably, yeah, it's fine.
Should we just start with the question? Like, so, for your brother, like, do you have any?
Oh, my brother
I
asked
feel like
me,
we're missing a bunch of them, like off top of my head.
what?
I feel like I feel like the ones we just talked about, where we were like, oh, these would be good ones. I feel like we're still missing a bunch.
Probably.
You know what
Oh,
I
so
mean?
my brother had asked for not necessarily like a romance novel, but he was like, I want a love story where people like aren't fighting to the death. Like he's
Dying.
only read like Hunger Games and like Divergent, The Inheritance Game. So he wanted like a different genre, which
Wait, that was almost a spoiler. Or maybe it was a spoiler. I've only read the first book of the Inheritance Games, and I haven't read the rest of them.
I haven't read any of them.
Okay, well,
I just know
that's
that
I guess I'll
he
find out when I get to it.
I just know that he was like, I just want like a different genre. And
Okay.
I was like, okay, so do we want to go fantasy? And he was like, no, it's taking me like a really long time to get through The Hobbit. And I was like, okay, you need to get on that. Um,
That's insane that he's reading that. Oh my God.
no, The Hobbit is a children's book.
I know, but like,
The Lord
I
of
don't
the
know.
Rings is a
That's
different
yeah, yeah,
story,
yeah.
but The Hobbit is technically a
Who
children's
you just be
book.
like, go read it. Like,
Also, like to be fair, he's like a mini me where like they were like, okay, so he has a college reading level. He's 8. Have
oh my,
fun.
why is that me?
No, I was the same way.
When they told me when we did those reading things, they're like, you're reading like 10 grades below your reading level. And I was like, oh, thanks for telling me that. I'm literally in like third grade.
Yeah.
But okay. And then
He
we
also,
wondered why we turned out the way we're sitting here
yeah.
like this. But you know.
So he also like I gave him the Narnia books. He like won't read them. I don't know why.
Okay, valid, I guess.
He's read literally every single thing that Rick Riordan has ever written.
Okay. Maze Runner? I feel like Maze Runner would be a good
So I
series.
gave him Maze Runner. I think he read the first one,
Yeah,
and then I have the other ones so he can read them when he wants.
later.
So like my brothers, which typically only one of them because the other two don't really read, but every once in a while, so they'll come in like when my mom's forcing them to read. Because God forbid they go to the actual library. They come in my room, they go, Kenzie, we need to borrow from your library.
You don't
And
have
I'm
to
like,
go that far
okay.
to get to your room.
They
It's
literally just
way
walk out of their
closer.
room and we're like, it's
Exactly.
fine. They're like, knock, knock, can we borrow a book?
I
And
love that.
I love it, but I also hate it because they're not great at taking care of
I was gonna
books
say
yet.
they're
So
also your
they're,
own books too, so you're like if you get them back and they're not exactly the way they were, that would also annoy me.
I
So
have a few books that are
I get
completely
that.
destroyed. And I was like, you need to give me more money to get more books and
Okay,
replace
valid.
it
Or go to the
because,
library.
yeah, I'm like, either start going to the library or start taking care of my books. Pick one.
True. One or
So
the other.
I he asked for like a less devastating love story. Anyways, so I gave him an abundance of Catherines, and he kind of was like, nah, I don't know if I want it. I'm like, okay, but that's like one of the
It's a
happier
good one.
versions of like a romance that I can give
Yeah.
you because the other like age appropriate they're 13. So the other age appropriate books I can give you are like
Arguably make you cry worse than
to be fair, to be fair, I did tell him that the rest of the John Green books that I own would mentally destroy him.
which ones do you have all of them?
No, I have Paper Towns, Looking for Alaska, The Fault in Our Stars, and An Abundance of Catherines.
Okay, so the big like the
So
big
like the big
four.
ones.
Yeah.
Not like the most like not like the more recent ones. And so I was like, I don't want you to read Looking for Alaska. I feel like that's not the vibe you're going for.
No.
And Paper Towns feels like a little bit too existential for what you're asking.
Yeah, it's true.
So I was like, the options are An Abundance of Catherines or The Fault in Our Stars. So he has both of them. Um,
Oh my God.
for those of you who have read The Fault in Our Stars, he asked me for one word to describe the
This is
book.
diabolical by Ken's. I hope you all know this when she says this. This is like absolutely insane. She said this to her brother. I cannot believe it.
He goes, so like, what's one word you would describe to use The Fault in Our Stars? And I went, okay. And he's like, it's only
Unreal.
okay. Why are you recommending
Unreal.
it?
No, that
And
he's
I was
gonna
like,
be
no,
hit
you don't
with a
get it
freight
yet.
train. No, like I already feel
I'm a
bad.
horrible sister. I know, I know, I know.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because like everything else is like he's read everything. Like he's read The Hunger Games, he's read also I will say, okay, spoilers for Divergent or Allegiant technically, by the way. He came into my room, I want to say like halfway through Allegiant and went, "Someone gonna die?" And I was
No,
like, "Yeah, a lot of people are gonna die. It's a
what?
dystopian novel. What do you think's gonna
Of
happen?"
course it's
I'm
gonna
like, "It's the
happen.
final book in a dystopian series. A lot
Stop.
of people are gonna die."
The fact that he was like aware, like I'm glad he's aware, but also I'm like, please
And then he came back in a few chapters later and was like, "Kenzie, I'm really worried. I think
stop.
so and so is gonna die." And it wasn't Triss.
It wasn't the right one.
I don't remember her name. I want to say Christina, but I think
Yeah,
I'm,
friend.
yeah.
The one that she meets. Yeah, it's Christina.
I think that he was like, I think Christina's gonna die. And I was like, okay.
Just you wait.
And then he came back
Just
in another chapter. He went, "Oh my God, is four gonna die?" And I was like, no. And I told him that point blank. And then he comes into my room and he goes, "Kenzie, Trish just got shot."
stop.
He's like borderline in
I
tears. And he
can't.
was like, "They're gonna save her, right? Tell me they're gonna save her."
Oh my God, please. This is like I
And
feel
then
like a universal experience because that was me reading
yeah.
those books when I was 13. So,
But then I felt so bad because he wanted to then go watch the movies. And I was like, just so you know, in the movie universe, she doesn't die.
they didn't even make that movie.
They didn't get
They
to
didn't even
it.
get that far,
Yeah. So
which I'm still mad about, but it's okay.
he was not impressed with me on that one.
Sir, well, I don't think he's gonna be any more impressed after he reads The Fault in Our Stars based on that. So
To be
we need
fair,
we need an update though.
I told him it was a book about cancer and that he was gonna cry. Like I gave him all of the warnings I
Okay,
can give
at
him
least he was
without
aware.
telling him what's gonna happen.
Okay, still the okay no is just diabolical. I have
No,
no
I
other
know,
word.
I'm
That's
horrible.
crazy.
So I will report
Oh
back.
my
He's also like
gosh.
on my ass because I haven't read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes yet.
Yeah.
And
I also
he's
okay. I've read that one. I have not read the new one.
yeah, he's
Sunrise, the
almost
reaping on the sunrise,
yeah,
whatever.
Sunrise on the
Sunrise on the
Reaping.
reaping. Yeah,
He is
it's on my list.
almost done
That
with
one was
Songbirds.
so good. Wait, did you
So
see the movie?
no,
What?
I know,
Mackenzie,
I know.
we need you to go get this book right now and
I know.
read it.
It's literally right here.
You just
It's
said you need
on my
something to read?
list.
Go pick it up. Go take it right now.
I know. So he's like on my ass to read it because he's almost done with it and he wants me to read it so we can
Let's
watch the
talk
movie
about it.
together and like
Oh,
discuss.
smart.
Because my other brothers will not watch The Hunger Games. They think it's like too gory, which also, I mean, one of my brothers has a very interesting like parameter for what he will watch and will not watch.
Oh gosh.
And the other one like loves horror films but won't watch The Hunger Games. I think because it's like too intellectual. And I'm like, okay.
That's all right. Usually it's the other way around, but okay.
Yeah, there's three of them. They have very different personalities, and it you can tell.
I
Um,
love that.
but he just it's so funny because he's like, "Cool, can I read what you're reading?" We went to Barnes and Noble once, and
Oh
he
God.
saw The Love Hypothesis.
See, this is why everybody brings up the cute like cartoon covers are
Yes,
like problematic
yes.
because if I was 14 years old and I saw those books, I'd be like, "Wow, that looks really cute and fun. I wouldn't read it." And then it's like, haha.
Well, so we
It's
were in Barnes and Noble. He goes, "Hey, I saw this on your bookshelf. Can I borrow it when we get home?" And I think he was 12 at this point, and I was like, "No,
oh no.
no."
No.
And he's
No.
like, "Why?" I'm like, "It's not appropriate." And I love how whenever I say something isn't appropriate, they're like, "We know what sex is." I'm like, "That doesn't mean you should
It's
be
also
reading about
yeah.
it."
No.
Also, so then there was a point where I was really worried they were gonna, because sometimes like I had like the Oculus in my room the other day, and one of them came in and stole it. So like sometimes when one of my brothers brings up wanting to read something I'm reading and I
Like just
say
take it.
no, I like always then start locking my door for about a week just to make sure no one actually comes in and steals
Yeah.
it. Cause I that's like my worst fear is like walking into the house one day and then reading one of my books and being like, no, this is so bad.
I hate being. Yeah, I get that.
But
That's like
even if it's just like a really intense horror book, like they're still children and like they don't
yes,
need to be scarred.
exposed to it a little
Yeah.
too early. Yeah, I feel that makes sense.
So that's where I've been at. Also, I'm talking so much. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. That's why we're here. That's literally the entire point of
I know,
this.
but I'm talking.
Well, I brought it up because I was like, if anybody else has fun little like YA romances that we
Yes.
are not thinking of,
So if
please
anyone,
well, tell Ken's more. It does not affect me.
no.
I'll read them. I haven't read them already.
If
But
anyone has any YA, like very YA, do not go
we had
above
said
YA, please
like
send.
Lynn Painter's books that what did I just say it was?
Rainbow Rowell's
And then the movies,
books.
yeah, like the yeah, stuff like
And
that.
like he's like emotionally mature enough to handle things like The Fault in Our Stars and
The
Looking
hard
for
things.
Alaska. Um, but like I don't want to be
Yeah.
responsible for introducing them to any nope, I'm good.
Also,
I'm good.
I feel like I'm so far like I still sometimes read YA books because like the last one I just read was probably the Good Girl's Guide to Murder.
Murder, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I
Um,
lent that book to someone
you
and
don't have it back? That's rude.
no, yeah, they never gave it back. And so I only have the second two.
I have to
And
read the next two still.
so
And
I
there's a
have to
spin-off,
either
right?
buy, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Either have to buy the first one again or have him go rent it from the library.
But that was
We'll see.
like the last one I read because sometimes I'll read them, but I feel like I'm also so far removed now that I don't know like new books that are in YA until like somebody like until like it's popular enough or by an author that I'm like aware of, and then I'm like, oh wait, let me go read that.
I know I'm
Otherwise,
giving
I'm
him books
not.
that are like 15 years old. I'm
That's
like,
what I
go read
mean. Like
this.
the ones that I think of, I'm like, yeah, I read that, but I'm also like, I don't know what like a new
No idea.
the new version or whatever is coming out in YA now because I don't really read them. I don't even walk in that section 95% of the time.
Yeah. I do
But
think he's going to be the adult, like once he turns 18, that's going to come into my room and be like, so can I borrow your Elsie Silver novels? And I'll be like, yeah, here you
I
go.
love that. I love it. That's, you
Like I
know what?
have no qualms with like eventually giving them to him for him to
Just not
borrow,
right
but
now.
I'm also like not right now.
No.
Not
And
in any
that's
world.
very valid, as it should be. So, if you have any recs,
These are the
drop
same
them.
children that want to know why they can't watch Roadhouse, by the way.
I don't think I've even seen that. I don't think I've seen that.
It's a Patrick Swayze movie.
Yeah, I've not seen that. I'm really bad with, you guys haven't caught on, I'm really bad with watching things like TV shows and movies. It's so bad.
Oh, but so I watched Now You See Me for the first time last night.
See, I haven't seen that.
I saw it for
And
the
that's
first
the
time last
magic
night.
one, right? They like do magic because there's like a bunch of sequels. And I remember going to the movies and they always play the trailer and I'm like, again,
It was really good.
really?
You know how I'm always like, I can always tell like what's gonna happen at the end of it?
Yeah.
I could tell you what was going to happen, like what the relationship was gonna be between
Not like how
everyone,
it was gonna get there.
but I didn't know who was that
Ooh,
relationship. And I had an
okay.
inkling, but I was like, I don't think they would do that. They did it.
It's like,
And
okay,
I was like, oh, that
okay.
kind of got me. I liked it. That was good.
It'll be added to my list. I know it exists, but I've never watched any of them. So
Yeah.
add it on there. That it never ends.
So,
You should hold them.
anyone want to guess what we're talking about today? Because it's not hockey. Well, it's hockey
Well,
adjacent.
not like actually related. Yeah, there you go. You know what? This is I'm
It's a
looking at
great
this
thumbnail.
now. You know what I it is. I am kind of mad. This is gonna sound so stupid,
They're so heavy. They're so
but
dense.
the spines, like I feel like they should have all made a skyline.
They do.
No, no, like on the spines. And like a cohesive skyline, you know what I mean? With the
I'm
colors and everything.
pretty sure
Does
they.
it actually do that? I cannot tell. Not us figuring this out literally right now.
Oh.
You know what I
So
mean?
the first two
Do.
do.
And then they don't
They like kind
kind
of
of line
line
up.
up together.
See, like, but that like across the whole thing.
No, I
You
understand
know
what
what
you're
I mean?
saying. I yeah, they
It's
like
okay.
kind of do, and then the third one like also kind of continues it, I will say.
The
But
vibe
it's like
is
in the
there.
wrong
It's
place.
just yeah, it's just not continuous.
And then the fourth one really screws it up.
It was okay. It was going.
Well, it's just because they're all at like different like heights, I guess. I don't know. It's
Yeah, that
fine.
too. But same,
We're
like
gonna
that
be
would have been cool.
talking about the Windy City series today by Liz Tom
40.
40. Okay.
Yes.
I like don't know if it's Liz Tom Ford or Liz Tom 40.
I only knew that because I listened to all these books as audiobooks, and in the beginning they introduce it, and I was like, "Oh, I've been saying her name wrong in my head this entire time."
Fair
And
enough.
because I thought the E was silent, it is not, which I kind of love. But Liz Tomforde, the woman you are, by the way. If I know she's never gonna listen to this, but like,
If Liz, if you are listening to
thank you
this,
for your service.
I did not. Okay, so I was very late to this. I just read all of these for the first time like a month ago.
Yeah, me telling Ken's, I was like, "You want a book? Please go pick those ones. Pick the first one up, and then you can make a decision. But pick the first one up."
And I got
So
to one of the open door scenes and I literally texted
I think I saw
Brianna
the text.
and I would hope you still have the text. I didn't realize you
Yeah,
deleted our text messages.
no, but like yeah, you're right. It's not long
And
ago
I
enough that my phone would automatically be like, "See ya."
literally texted Bri and I was like, I did not, I was unaware of her game.
And then I think I literally we had the same conversation about Allie Hazelwood like a month later because we were all like, "Whoa, I
Yes.
was completely unaware of this."
But then even you
But
knowing Liz Tom Forty's game and rewind it back, you
oh,
still texted me and were like, oh my
because
God.
like my whole thing, so I read these all out of order
Mhm.
mostly. So I don't even know how this came apart, but like I started reading them last summer, and I because of my commute, I'm like a big audio girly. When I audiobook girly,
Yeah.
I feel like I have to say that correctly. Um, So I always listen to a book in the car on my way to and from work, whatever. So I was like, I'm bored, whatever. And then Audible will like recommend books based off of what you listen to. And I don't know how it got recommended to me, but it recommended Caught Up,
Which is the third book.
third one. And I was like, a single dad baseball romance? Sign me up. So then, that's what I did. I listened to it. And then I realized after I finished the book, because even when I was listening to it, I was like, why are there characters that I feel like I should know what's going on in their life? And I don't know why I don't know what's going on in their life. So I
Which
finished
I
it. And
will
then,
say, the third one is probably like the best one to start with
yeah,
if you're gonna start out of
if you
order
out of order, I agree.
because it's a little bit more
It's
removed.
very more standalone-ish than all of
Yeah,
them. So I didn't realize it was a series until I finished the book, and then I was like, "Oh my God!" There at that time there was only
two.
two, the two before. So what I did is I went back and I listened to the two, and by the time I got through those two, the fourth one was out, and I just listened to the fourth one I think in March. So I finished it on my way home from Australia, and then the fifth one came out in May. So I read them all out of order, which you probably shouldn't do. But like technically you can read them all as standalones, but there are every character in all the books, the later you get, show up, and I feel like show up way more, especially like in Rewind It Back, they're like there the entire time. So if you don't
Yeah.
know, it's fine. You can read them as standalones. But
So
my point is if you because I started out of order, if you read them like first one through five, you're aware of Liz Tomforty's game, but it somehow gets better every single
every
book.
book,
And I'm like, "Oh, she can't top this." And then she somehow tops it. It's insane. So,
every
just
book. Like I
speechless. We have
gave
no
Mile
words.
High 5 stars and then
I've
I
given
got to
every
book
single one of these
two
books 5
and I was
stars.
like, can I give it seven?
I feel like it's like 5, 6, 7, 8. Like we're just going up to like 10 stars
I
because it's
will.
impossible.
Okay.
I say we could
Hi.
rank these.
Hi. Spoiler warning for all 5 books in the Windy City series, which would be Mile High, Play Along, The Right Move, Caught Up, and Rewind It Back. I know I did that out of order,
I
but
was
it
gonna
is
say
fine.
it's okay.
Those 5 books, spoilers. Also spoilers for the upcoming book that she has, which like we obviously
Oh
don't know
yeah,
about, but like it is a spin-off of this series. So like the
it's
intertwined characters
connected.
still.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is not
So,
directly connected, but connected in a way. Also, I feel like we should all say hi. You're listening to Read Between the Blue Lines.
oh my God.
we we got this far and had not said anything, and this is what happens when we talk about books. We just start going clearly. But welcome
This
back.
is a hockey podcast. We will be talking about
Fictional
two
hockey
hockey
today.
romances today.
Fictional,
Yes, but other sports as
but
well.
it is. We're multi-sport athletes here.
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says. Hockey's the number one, but we are multi-sport athletes. I don't care.
Yes.
Goodbye.
So big spoiler warning. We're going to get into the nitty gritty. Also 18 plus warning because we are
Yes.
going to talk a little bit about the fact that they're romance novels. Um,
Adult romance, like they are, yeah.
yes, they are adult romance
They are
novels.
for the
They
adult
are open
kind.
door adult romance
Yeah.
novels, which for those of us who are maybe new to the reading space, open door means you see the sex scenes play out,
Happens on
and
page
closed door or fade to black books is where, okay, closed doors like you don't really see anything
at
really besides
all.
like kissing, maybe second base.
Yeah.
Um, fade to black is like
It's
a
like it
happy medium.
starts, you don't, they like kind of like come back and you know what happened, but there's no like actual writing
Yeah, it'll be
of
like,
it.
oh, the makeout was so good, and then I woke up the next morning,
Yeah.
and you're like, ah, okay, good for you.
All right. These are not like that.
Nope, these are explicit
These
detail.
are very, very, yeah, these are complete opposite of those things, which,
So these are all dual POV. So they are
yes.
all told by the main male character and the main female character, in both of their first person perspectives.
Hmm.
Do you want to start with like going through each book, or do you want to start with like your rankings of the books, the rankings of the guys, and the rankings of the girls?
I lost you, so I don't even know what you said.
Okay. Do you want to start by like ranking the books and then the characters, or do you want to start off with like explaining the books and like what we liked about each
I
of
feel like we could
them?
explain them and then
Okay.
rank them. Because I feel like that would help explain our ranks better.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So, also, do you
I don't,
have your like Goodreads available to see like what you gave each of them?
I gave them all 5 stars.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I
I'm
did too, but
95% sure I did this. I'm gonna look it up right now, but I'm pretty sure.
I think I also did the same thing, but I would like to check.
I feel like it'd be a crime if I didn't do that. I can't find, okay, we're going.
I
But
gave all of them 5 stars.
I was gonna say, me too. If I could have given them more, these are like, for those of you who are on like Bookstar, like in the book community, the 5 star rating is like typically the basic, like that's where we're like going, like the 1 through 5 star rating. There is a, I don't ever use it, but it is a thing where the book is so good you have to rate it 6 stars, and there's 6 star books. I don't, like on my account, or like if I talk about them, I never actually say it, but like if they were one I were to give it to, this whole series I feel like would be my 6 star rating.
I will say I don't think that any of them as books amount to 6 star books for me,
No, but the
but
series as a
there is
whole,
one main male character who would make me consider raising it
wait, I feel like I
to a
need to know
six
who
star
this
book.
is.
I will explain when I get to my rankings of the men.
Okay. Of the
Yeah, because that's the important
men.
part.
I know, but the way you said that is so funny. Like, yeah. Okay, can confirm I gave them all 5 stars.
So, Mile High is the first one. The premise of the book is that there is a
Flight
flight
attendant.
attendant. I would like to say that she is considered plus size within the fandom. Like
Yeah,
she's definitely
it is.
described as bigger. Okay. So,
That's the whole like,
yes.
but that is it. Yes,
Yeah. Sorry, Brie and I are having
you're
rough
good.
internet connection
It's
today.
okay.
Um, so yeah, she's a flight attendant for a team in the NHL based in Chicago, the Windy City.
Where, yeah.
And the whole thing is like, I guess last season in their book, they had a new flight attendant team like every single flight. This season, the club
It's the same
management has
team.
decided it's the same team. And it's the same two girls,
Guess what?
Stevie and Indy.
Remember that for later.
Yeah. And so on this flight, we meet this man, Xanders, who is
Among others, but yes.
the
Yes.
bad boy
Yeah.
of Chicago sports, Chicago hockey. He has a reputation for being a womanizer.
I
And
also feel like,
those are your two main characters.
yeah. I feel like it's also, I feel like, I don't know if it's important, but the tattoos Xanders has is also very prominent. Like, it fits very much like
Yes.
I don't want to say, I hate saying bad boy, but like that's very much, intimidating. You don't want to like mess with him. Stone, yeah, like stone cold, whatever. But
And then his
which we
best
learned is not true.
friend is the captain of the team, who is like the baby face.
Yes, I also someone pointed this out not so long ago. I miss. Why do I forget his name? I'm drawing a blank. His best friend, like Xander's best friend and his wife
I
are
want to
prominent in the first book, and then like,
Madison. It is
we
Madison.
never hear about them ever again,
I know.
and
It's
I
so
hate
sad.
that. I want, please, like I'm like, wait a second.
Well, it's because they're Xander's friends and
I
like
know, but I'm like, I think they might be mentioned a little bit in the second book. I feel
I think
like,
they're mentioned a little bit in the second and they
but
might be
after
like
that,
glanced over in the fifth. But
yeah,
again, that's what I mean by like the third and the fourth you can kind of read as like a duplet,
they're so like I don't say far removed, but they're not.
but they're like the most removed.
They're more standalone. They're very like standalone, yeah, duet books than whole
Yeah.
series flow. But yeah, like you could read those two and just think that's the whole series. Or the two of them. Anyway,
Yeah.
my little tangent.
So this book is filled to the brim with like grand gestures.
Yeah,
And it,
which I feel like that's the point,
yeah,
but I don't know where you're going with this, but like that's like,
all of these men show love in very different
oh yes.
ways.
I also think this one again online is like I hate to say the most hated because it's not, but like
I don't even think it's hate. I think it's just like the least liked.
yeah, so like if you when we rank them or when people rank them, it's always like the one that people are like, yeah, I liked it and I loved it, but like not as much as the other ones. And again, I think this goes back to like it's a really awesome start to the series, but the other books somehow just like get better
Yeah, like I like you
further
get
on.
better. Like it's like fine wine. Like the
Yeah,
series just keeps getting
it
better.
does, it does. But this one, like when I read it, I ate it up. I was like, okay, I'm into
Absolutely.
it. It's fine. We're good.
My biggest issue with this book is that,
Kenzie's just logic.
yeah, I'm so sorry.
It is. It's
Um,
true.
when you work for a professional sports team, you have a very strict anti-fraternization policy.
Yeah,
And the fact that
it's a
that
book.
line, I understand that,
Oh,
but when you have worked so hard for a career to get to a certain
yeah,
point, the idea that you also because they don't even want to start dating, they just want
no.
to fuck
Mm-hmm.
basically for the first half of the book.
Yeah.
They're not even trying to like form a relationship. They literally just trying to like get each other out of their
No,
systems.
that's a second act development in
So
this one.
the fact that you are willing to ruin your, because also that's not just like, oh, you won't get hired again from that team
No,
and you'll
it's
get like
like,
that could be career
yeah.
ruining.
What's the word when like not blacklist?
Yeah,
Is that the word I'm looking
she'd get
for? Like in
blacklisted.
yeah, the blacklist. Okay, I couldn't remember if that was the right one. I was thinking blackballed for some reason. Might be the
I
same thing.
always it's like the same thing, I think.
But either way, yeah. So yes,
Like as someone who works in the sports industry, I like could not even imagine
no, I agree. And
risking
that's
my career for that.
yeah, and
Like
that's why
I wouldn't even go get a signature from a player at Fanatics Fest because I do not want to screw with my contract.
yeah. I also think I want to say I saw a video of her speaking at a like event, and
Hmm.
she had said that used to be her old job,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, love that for you, but also like I feel like that's kind of the reason it seems so realistic because she also realizes how like that would never happen in real life. So she was
Yeah.
like, I can make it fictional, and like the worst part is though we have that knowledge, but the general public is like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. It doesn't work that way,
Well,
guys. I'm so
because
sorry.
it does give like that forbidden romance type of feel, and
That's the trope of it. Yeah, like that feeds
it's a
into it.
great trope, but it did piss me off
There's an ick.
enough to where I was like, this just it wouldn't happen. And
No, I
she
agree.
would have gotten fired just for going to the bar with these people. Never mind
Yeah,
screwing one of them. Just being like, because like
scene.
they were seen in a they were in a bar in public
Mm-hmm.
with other like they weren't in a private bar, public bar with a bunch of people. and he keeps approaching her. And like that, as a woman in sports, would have made me so mad, where I was like, you think
Yeah.
that you are so much more important than me, that you can risk my job.
Hmm.
Like that's, I think, what
Yeah.
got to me about Xander's, is where I was like, I understand that you want her, but like this is her career. And the fact that you're willing
Yep.
to put her career on the line, but not yours,
Yeah, you're
is a
right.
little selfish. And I didn't like it. I think that's
Yes.
one of the reasons why Xander's falls so low on my list, is purely because of that concept, just because he's so selfish at the beginning.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I'm not a fan of characters who are like arrogant and sorry, there's a fly flying around. I don't know if you can hear that. Um, I was like kind of off-putting because like I also know if it was me, I'd be like, I don't have time for that. Like I can't even entertain the idea of like a regular human being doing that to me. So I think the second act was very of that book was more redeeming for him.
Yeah,
And look,
absolutely.
the further we go in the series, when you see like him and Stevie later on, you're like, okay, I love that. But like it was aggravating when like she was clearly like, no, I can't do this. It's a rule, whatever. And then she ends up, I don't say like giving in because she's very much like, yeah, I'll do it or like like whatever. But yeah, that was. I know
She
it's part of
was
Xander's.
horny.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why I don't want to say giving in. Like she like was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
and I
So
also don't think that he was like pressuring her in a way that like blurs the line of like a sexual
no,
assault type of thing. I think it was just more of like, it was
he was
just a weird,
persistent,
yeah,
but like persistent in a way of like, I'm not going anywhere. And I was like,
yeah,
I understand,
which is cute.
but like also to the level of like she also has her own life and things to
Also,
do and worry about and
the main conflict of his part of the book with like his agent and his contract. First off, I really, really, really don't think that an NHL team would only sign someone because of their outside image. If you
I
produce well on the ice, you're
I
gonna
hate
get
to
a
break
contract.
this to anybody. If you go look at the NHL currently, there's a list and they all have jobs. Hate to
Well,
break
no,
it to
no, no.
you.
I mean, like they want, like he's worried that if he gives away the bad boy persona, that they won't bring him back.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess.
Which I'm like, I just
Yeah.
feel like that doesn't, like that wouldn't translate. Also, as someone who works in a lawyer-like capacity, I have to be so careful with how I word it. I'm not admitted to a bar, just so everyone knows. You have to present your client with every single negotiation deal that comes to
Mhm.
your table. I understand that his agent might not have been like a literal lawyer, but I'm sure that the ethics are pretty similar with
A
the
little bit.
NHLPA.
Yeah.
And the fact that his agent got an offer in October and didn't give it to him
Yeah.
is probably illegal.
I remember that happening and I was like, "Huh? What?" Like,
It's a
yeah.
similar thing where, like, when I'm reading some of the books, like, I want to say the L. Kennedy books do this, where they're like, we're going to go get drafted after college. I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
how that works.
Yeah. I'm like, "Hold on.
But,
Hold
like, the fact
on."
that this was, like, the main conflict of the book for him was, like, trying to get a new contract. And I'm like,
It just doesn't
your
feel
agent was doing illegal
realistic.
shit.
Yeah, and the fact like yeah, I again like if you suspend all of what you know and like you're just into the book, it makes sense. But like in the reality sense, it does not
The
fit.
paparazzi bit also felt very overkill because,
Yeah.
like, the NHL, especially in America, is not that level of sport where you would literally get followed back to your
Yeah.
room, like,
I
most of the time.
felt when we get to the second book, I hold on, Morty needs to leave.
Morty!
He needs to exit my room. He'll come
Morty
back.
hates me.
I'm sorry. He does not. He's hungry.
So
It's
in
time for dinner.
That's valid. In case anyone was wondering, Morty is one of Brianna's cats, and he is so fat, and I love him so much, and I miss him a lot. And I am willing to drive 3 to 4 hours into New Jersey to go visit this cat.
Are you talking about Morty?
Yes, I
Oh my God. I'll put a picture of him on the story so you guys can see him.
He is so
He has like
cute.
a fan club. Last night when you texted me about
He should
pictures
be.
of him, I was
Yes.
like, Mom, the paparazzi are calling. Everybody wants Morty's picture. He's like everyone that meets him, even Eric's friends, like anybody that meets him is like just comes obsessed.
Well,
but
because he
it's
likes
not.
me.
Yeah.
So
Also,
therefore, and
I don't know if Ken said it, but he's fat. Like
I did.
he's round, but like it adds to his like, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like that makes him cute.
Yeah, it's
So
part of his
he's just
charm.
goofy.
I love
But yeah,
him.
I'll share some Morty pics on the when this goes up afterwards. You'll
Better.
randomly see Morty pictures on the pod account. That's why. Spreading the agenda of my cat.
Um,
Anyway,
the second book also felt really unrealistic, but like it felt more whatever. The first book, the amount of paparazzi was like
yeah.
excessive. Um, I will
I also
say,
can't think of anybody like it doesn't I mean, it doesn't happen. Like even like you're big, like you'll see like
like I'm thinking of like Jack Hughes and the fact that him and his girlfriend do not get photographed
yeah, I'm
together.
thinking like the only thing I can remember is this is the funniest thing that I mentioned on this podcast. It was like 3 summers ago, the whole like McDavid thing when he was out in the summer, and like that was all over my Twitter, but like that was people
But
filming.
it's people in the hockey world and
Yeah,
it's not
it's not people being like,
paparazzi.
yeah, go take a picture. It's someone famous. Like it's regular people on the street being like, wait a second, I know
Yeah.
that guy. So that felt, I think if it was presented that way in the book, it would have made more sense
Like
to
if it was
me.
like like I think if it was more of like a fan that was
Yeah,
like, oh my God,
but
oh my God, oh
still
my God, oh my God,
not
oh my God.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, the paparazzi following you anywhere as an
Which
athlete, I don't think.
it then makes sense because you find out that the agent is hiring the paparazzi to
Yeah,
do
like
that. But
it
like,
all ends up, but like when you're reading it, you don't know, and you're just
no,
like,
but I also feel like if the paparazzi randomly started following you out of nowhere, you'd be like, this is weird. And it seems
and
like
you
it's
should tell
always been a
someone.
thing for him.
Yeah, I
And I'm
agree.
like, hockey people are just not that famous to where like
No.
that would be like, listen, I think it's a concern. Like, I think that if you are a girlfriend, like a wag, and you don't want to be on social media, like I do think that you have to be very cautious about how
Yeah.
you interact with your significant other when you're out in public. But again, when you're dating someone that you are literally breaking a contract to
Hmm.
date, maybe we shouldn't be going out in pub. Also, they like lived
Yeah,
across the street from each other.
I know. But then she like didn't have any money, right? Or she was com what was the story? No,
So sh yeah, she was like kind of broke, and was living with her
but not
brother.
really. Yeah, at the same time, yeah.
Um, and so and like he's a hockey player making like 8 mil a year. So,
Yeah.
um,
You never know, I guess. Anyway,
okay. I did love the dog shelter thing. That was really cute.
I agree.
He like ends up in his new contract with the team. The team has to like adopt the dog shelter kind of that she works at and
Yeah.
like refurbish it and then also like all of the dogs become like therapy dogs for
Yeah.
the team. It's super
I
cute. I
do love it.
really like that idea.
That like subplot was my favorite thing
Yes.
of the whole, not like of the whole book, but it was cute. I loved it.
It was very cute. I would still rate it 5 stars.
I do.
I do
It's not like if I out of five, it's not in my top three though.
know, but I
But
think it's just there's a little bit too much that's like unrealistic for me. I think to have gotten so immersed in the book where I was like, I'm in love with everything happening. I
yeah.
think I was texting you more often than not, being like, this wouldn't happen.
So just like me personally, Xander's isn't a character that I love reading. That makes sense. Like I'll read it, but like if I had to like choose a main character, like it wouldn't be him.
He is
A man
unfortunately,
of that,
yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean?
I think he is unfortunately a type that I would go for.
Kent. I didn't know you were gonna say that, but I was like, you. I feel like you were.
What is he? Like 6'4", this like tall, dark, and
Listen,
handsome, covered in
yeah, I'm
tattoos.
saying no,
Tell me
but
that's not my vibe, right?
I'm not saying that part. I'm just saying like the way he comes off
Yes,
initially. I'm like,
yeah, I
mm.
go for assholes. I don't know if we've talked about the people that I've
Yeah, okay,
talked
all
to
right. The
before. They're
track
not nice
record.
people.
But yeah, it's a good. I think it's a good start into the series because it had me hooked enough that I wanted to read the next book. But if I had to like recommend one to somebody that I really loved, I don't think this would be the one to be like, read this and you'll like the rest of the series. Although it does do that. But like
I
out
will
of mine,
say to my friends who work in sports, I always give a huge
unrealistic.
disclaimer that I'm
Yeah,
like, this is extremely
yeah.
unrealistic.
Which again, that's the point. But like your brain can't like our brains can't be like, yeah, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And my brain doesn't work that way.
Well,
But
like
yes.
I was covering the Liberty game today and one of my friends literally was like, blow Natasha Cloud a kiss for me. And I was like, I will not be doing
Girl,
that. But like, yeah, sure.
in
You
my
blow her a kiss
head, I'll do
yourself.
it imaginarily because like I can't do that physically. I see a groundhog at my window.
A groundhog.
Yes.
Those
You know how
exist?
groundhogs?
I'm
Yeah,
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I
he's
don't think I've
eating
ever actually
grass
seen one
across.
in person.
What? Oh my God. They live all, again, I live in the middle of nowhere, but we have a bunch of them.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a groundhog.
That's the funniest thing I've ever. Oh my God, that's crazy. Anyway, Mile High.
Moving on. This book is about Stevie's brother and Stevie's
Ryan
coworker.
and Indy. Remember
So
Indy?
this is the right move. This is Indy, who is the other flight attendant. She has been promoted.
Yes, because Stevie left.
Yes.
She's now,
And, well, no, also because Stevie's boss also got
yeah,
fired
that
for
too. We
fraternizing
hated
with
her.
the player.
I couldn't stand her. She was my
The
least favorite
boss, yeah,
immediately.
the boss the whole time was literally trying to get with
Yes.
Xander's and then was actively like, Stevie, if I see you with him, I'm firing you.
But
And
like
Stevie's just
literally the
like,
only reason she did
okay.
that, 'cause she's like, I want him, not you. Like you
Yeah.
can't have him, I want him. And I'm like, girl, it doesn't work that way.
Like, not actually because of the rules, just because she was like,
No, because
yeah.
she made it up. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't like her.
So
But
she gets fired. So that's why Indy gets promoted. So now Indy is like the lead flight attendant.
yeah,
Um,
she's running the flight now.
and
She is the one.
Ryan is the captain of the Chicago NBA team.
Yes.
And he is one of the best
I
basketball players in the league.
yeah,
He is also arguably the best man in
yeah.
the
I
series.
was gonna say if I had to rank them, he is probably my number one.
He is my number one because I think for the longest time in my life, I thought I wanted the grand gestures that a lot of these men give.
Yeah.
And as I've matured and gotten older, I've realized that the thing that I want the most in life is for someone to know me so
I was gonna
innately
say
that they love
the
me quietly.
yeah, the quote to be loved is to be seen or to be known.
Yeah.
To be known. Um, I read this book and I like when if you guys have read it or if you will read it or do read it, my absolute favorite part. This is also has a lot of tropes I love because it kind of starts like enemies to lovers because like Ryan's just like I don't want to live with somebody else. I don't know this girl, and why are you giving her like Xander
Enemies
being
to
like
lovers,
yeah, like
forced
Stevie's like,
proximity.
hey, do me a favor, like my best friend's gonna live with you while she like gets back on her feet. You
Yeah.
have no one living with you, you're fine. And Ryan's like,
Well, so
I
the whole
want
book
her
starts because Stevie's now moved out. She's moved in with
with
Xander's.
Xander's. Yeah.
And Indy just literally walked in on her boyfriend balls deep
Yeah.
in another girl.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Which is
boyfriend, fiance?
yes. No, they might have been engaged. I don't remember.
And
But my absolute favorite part of this whole book was the way, first off, again, the enemies to lovers to
ex-boyfriend.
the enemies to friends to lovers is my favorite transition in the entire world. I don't care what book. But also my absolute the way Ryan Shea shows her like his love in ways that like are so perfectly
So
indie based on what he knows about her. I wanted to throw my book across the room. I wasn't even listening to it wasn't even a real book. I was driving my car. The
you're like,
amount
what
of
if I just crash
times
my car?
the amount of times I was sitting there just like screaming because it was so I
So
don't know,
good.
perfect. Like the stuff that he did for her to like prove that he loved her and he saw her, and I was like, I was like, that's it. Like I don't have
It
words. I
just
don't. It's so good. It's so good. Also, like it's known like he's very closed off. He doesn't want a relationship. He's all
yeah.
about focusing on his game. Like he's under all this pressure because the team doesn't make the playoffs and he's the captain. Blah blah. And so like he doesn't see Indy coming at all. But like then I feel like he falls first. I don't know if that's an actual trope in this book, but I feel like it
I think she falls first and he falls harder.
harder. That's the one I'm like, yeah. And I eat that up. I love it. So it's just so well done. I can't. It's my absolute favorite
It also just does
ever.
feel like their conversations do feel very like real.
Yes. Also, if you are
She's
a fan of the banter, like there's enough of it in this book that you're like, "Oh my God, okay. I get it."
And so I think like going from Mile High to The Right Move, and I was just like literally foaming at the mouth the whole time. I was like, this is so good.
I
Because it
oh,
slow burns the way a slow burn
yeah,
should, and
in
like
like
the
the best way.
resolution to it was so good. And like, oh, so also we forgot to mention they're fake dating.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's okay. So again, this had like all of my favorite tropes in the entire world in one book. So of
So
course it was my favorite.
So they move in together because she's down on her luck. She's going through IVF treatments. She needs to be able to pay for it.
Her
She's like,
boyfriend cheated on her. She had
yeah,
nowhere
like
to live.
she is struggling.
Stevie did this girl a favor. She really
He
did.
is a new captain who his, I want to say GM or owner of the team, like doesn't have faith in. Because I guess
Because
like
of his image again. They're like, you don't like how do I word it?
he's like viewed as like a recluse, I guess, because he
Yeah,
doesn't like
like
leave the
you don't go
house.
out and like do things, you're not seen. But this is the point where I was saying about Xander's, like he's very much like he's under such a microscope that everything he does is like all over the internet instantly
Hmm.
because he's so big of a deal. So he doesn't want to go out in public because of that. And so
Yeah.
his owner's like, or the GM's like, no, you kind of have to like be the face of the franchise outside of playing basketball. And that's how they end up fake dating. Because he's like, I'll just get a
Because
girlfriend.
well, and I don't remember exactly how it happens, but at some point Ryan's like, "This is my girlfriend."
They're in the office. Isn't there, aren't they in the office? And she's like, no, wait, that's a separate book. Forget I said that. That's later on in the series.
That's later.
Just
Um,
kidding. I know there's a meeting though, and then I he's like, well, what am I gonna do? And then she doesn't have a reason to fake date. I don't think.
hold on. I'm trying
No, is it? I was gonna say it's not really to Rio because then that's how like Rio ends up finding out she knows Ryan, and he's like, because he's hitting on her mad in this book, and that's how they
Oh
become
yeah, so
friends.
Rio in the
She's like
first book is like hitting on both of
the
them.
rookie. He's the rookie. Everyone.
Yeah.
Well, he's the rookie in the first book. He ends up not being the rookie later on, but he's the rookie when he started out. But I don't know if it has anything to do with it. But then she's kind of like she ends up telling him,
No, no, no.
and
Okay,
that's
so
where the whole
she's
like
going, okay, hold on. She's going to a wedding with her ex and all of their
that's
friends, so
right.
she needs a date.
Okay, I forgot about this one. And that's the agreement. They're like we're only gonna date until
Yeah.
the wedding or
He
whatever.
Okay. The general manager vocalizes his blatant disapproval of Ryan's promotion to captain, referring to him as an unapproachable lone wolf with no work-life balance, and he
Hate it.
can't think of a better way to convince him other than pretending to date Indy. And Indy wants him because of the wedding.
Yeah.
And her ex adores Ryan.
I was gonna say, this album did not come out when I first read this book, but it's giving that line in the Sabrina Carpenter song where it's like whatever the line is, and she's like, "I'll just go with your favorite
Yeah.
athlete." That's this book in a single line. That is literally the
Shoot a shot
concept
every
of
night.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the line in what song is that? I'll look it up.
Please, please,
But
please.
no. Um
Good
I will
graces. Good
yeah, I was gonna say
graces.
I'm singing it in my head and I'm like,
I had to get to
um
the
but
chorus.
that's what I was doing. That line is literally the entire premise of them dating on Indy's side. Which
And you know
I
what?
love that for her.
Love it.
Yeah, like as she should. I iconic. It's iconic.
I I don't want to give away like the biggest thing that Ryan does in the book,
No.
but
I mean
also
we
like I need
could.
to because it's
Yeah.
his like biggest grand gesture. Indy's dad is deaf,
Yes.
and Ryan takes it upon himself to learn sign language. And the first
To
thing he learns how to say is, "Can I marry your daughter?"
mhm.
And that is like he knew
I
like the moment that he realized he like was in love with her,
yeah.
he did everything he could to
My
make her life
favorite
perfect.
was like I think we saw him doing that like behind the scenes like on his POV and we
Yeah.
like obviously Indy didn't know. And I remember like I remember sitting there and I remember reading it and I was like, "Oh my God, no. Like no freaking way." He's sitting here and like not that it's I don't want to like dumb down like not that's the wrong way of saying it. Not that it's not a significant thing because he does a lot, but it's like the biggest like when it happened in the book, I was like
And she
if
like
that
loses
was
it. They're in
me,
public.
that's what I mean. Like if that was me, I would have like you don't even have to ask me the question. We're done. We're getting married. Like that's it.
Well,
I can't.
so okay, so there's two things. One of the reasons that Ryan is so
Likeable.
anti-people
Oh,
is because he had an ex-girlfriend who got pregnant, I
and
guess
tried
like
to
right
like
when he got drafted, not by him,
yeah,
and made him believe that that was his baby.
like trap, guilt.
Baby trapped him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah, except he thought it was his baby and he was like ready to go and be a dad.
and it
And then that got
wasn't.
ripped out of him when the baby came out and I think was like stark white.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "So that's not my kid.
Yep.
That is a white person."
Which also like
A white baby?
again
No.
completely traumatizing,
Yeah.
like from his end. So it
Well,
makes
because
again,
she just wanted his money because
yeah.
he was like the number one draft pick,
The
like whatever.
the story building in this one
It
felt
was so
so
good.
complete
Yeah.
on both sides. Like sometimes I feel like you'll get like a really well developed like one character. This one from both of them, they had a very like their backstories made sense. The way like they lived their life and whatever they were doing, it worked so well. And then that made them like falling in love and being roommates. It just
So like
yes.
he's very closed off, and then we get to the point where like he fully opens himself up to her, but she doesn't
Yeah.
see it. And then like they obviously like have like a thing going, whatever. They're at a basketball game and they bring out all these like little kids for this
Oh my God.
national anthem or whatever.
Yeah, this part got me too.
And he's signing to the kid, and that's when she realizes that like he's been learning, and
Yeah.
they're fully in, and she literally like has to like run to the bathroom
Yeah.
because she's like can't handle her emotion. It's so cute.
I remember that happening and I was like, "Oh, I didn't I think I said oh my God a million times when I read this book because I didn't know what else to say." I
Yep.
was like
Yep.
it's just it's so perfect. Like I if there was a man, I think I said this about Emily Henry too. If there was a man I could pull off a page, Ryan Shea, you are the one. Thank you
You're
so
coming
much.
home with me.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have no second guessing
Yeah.
pulling you out of the book. Thank you very much. Anyway,
I
this one's
just
amazing.
it's so good. This is the one that I would give 6 stars to.
Yeah,
Not because it's I think it's like I do think it is so complete and it's so good and I do think it deserves 5 stars.
yeah, but it's
The
better
way
than
that
that.
Ryan Shea makes me feel as a woman
Yeah.
makes me want to give it six
That's
stars.
why I literally was like, if a man ever like, I guess love is the right word, but like showed up for me like that, I would be like, I don't even know. The
Also,
blueprint is
like,
right there, everybody,
well, speaking of blue,
in this book.
um,
Yeah, that's
her name is Indigo Iverson and goes by Indy, and so he calls her Blue.
yeah, the
And like
nickname.
it's funny because at some point they're talking about favorite colors and he's like, "Well, my favorite color is blue." And she like completely like glosses over it. And then
Yeah,
at the end he's like, "No, my favorite color is blue because it's your name, dum dum."
it's just, I'm gonna have
And
to go
then
reread it again.
he names his kid Iverson and Navy. And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Ah."
it's just so good.
It's
Unmatched,
he's
top tier.
literally perfect.
If we had like this would be a funny TikTok to make. You know that I don't even know what show it's from when they do the pyramid thing and they pull the things off. This one, top pyramid. I think it's RuPaul, is it? It might be.
Dance Moms?
No, it's Dance Moms? No way.
The pyramid? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Dance
were they like
Moms.
I could have swore it was RuPaul. Like Drag Race. I
I'm
learned
sure
something new
Drag Race
today.
has another sound we could use, but like
I
the
just
and on
thought
top
it
of
was
the
that.
pyramid,
Yes.
Maddie. Yeah, no, that's Dance
I
Moms.
really I never watched Dance Moms, so that's beyond me. I literally this whole time thought it was Drag Race, which is fine. But this one's top of the pyramid.
I would agree.
It's just So good.
And so, moving on to another sport, another book, Ryan has a friend who we're introduced to very briefly. His
Very
name
briefly.
is Kai, and he, which we are introduced to this in the second book, cannot find a nanny that he trusts. He
For his kid.
basically had intercourse with a woman who
Hmm.
then got pregnant, did not tell him.
And then left the child.
I think when the baby was like 6 months old,
Yeah.
gave him to Kai and was like, I can't deal with this anymore. Have fun. This is your kid.
Yep.
And Kai was like, okay, this is my kid.
And in terms
Let's do
of
this.
different sport, he is the starting pitcher for Chicago's
Baseball
MLB
team.
team.
Yeah.
So,
Um, and
but
then
yes,
so I love the way that they meet. I
it's so
love it.
good. It's perfect.
It's the opening scene, right?
Yeah. Or it's like right after doesn't he fire a nanny and then he walks out and he's like telling
So yeah, he's talking
mom,
to his
like,
coach.
yeah, and he's like, hey, I, whatever. And then he ends up getting the elevator. And then they were like, oh,
He gets in the elevator and we meet this chaotic ass woman who is
she's
double
a,
fisting beers at what, 9 o'clock,
like,
11 o'clock
nine
in the
in the
morning?
morning. Yeah, it's
Real
before
early.
noon. It's before noon.
Like before it is acceptable to drink for anyone, really.
Yes. Yeah.
And like he doesn't understand that like she's about to go see someone and but he is enamored. And so is
Hmm.
Max, his little baby, who basically is
Who
like,
hates women
yeah,
up
and is
until he meets her.
and it's just like, oh, mommy. Like it literally is like an instant connection for
Yeah.
those
He's
two.
so cute. I love Max. He's adorable.
And then we find out that Miller
Girl
is
from the
his
elevator.
coach's daughter.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I remember texting you about it right before I read it or something, where I was like, this is gonna end up because again,
I think,
Mackenzie
yeah.
ignores the blurbs of the books.
To
So
be fair, I didn't read any. I think the only one I read a blurb for might have been this one because, again, it was recommended to me and I was like, yeah, that sounds like I'd love it. It's right up my alley. And then the rest of them I just blindly went into because it was connected in the series. And I was
yeah.
like, okay, whatever.
I like it
Uh,
does say
but
on the back of the book, right?
yeah, it should. I would imagine it does.
It does, yeah. Um, just the way they meet is so yummy.
It's so good.
And so it's like an enemies to lovers, another forced proximity. So basically, he wants someone to travel with the team because he doesn't want to leave his son alone.
Yes.
Um, so
But
he
he
needs
doesn't
like an
trust
au pair,
anyone.
basically.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I had texted you. I think when I had met Kai in the second book, I texted you immediately and went, "Oh my God, he's gonna be the third character, and it's gonna be like the au pair affair." And you were like,
Oh,
"No,"
yeah.
and I was like,
Well,
"Yes."
to be fair, I didn't read that book,
Well, yeah, but anyways,
but I was also being like, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know nothing, even though I read them. So it's like I know nothing.
that was me for when you were reading the fifth book, and I
I'm
was
also
like,
like
"What are we
terrible
talking
about
about?"
like I feel like I would just start you'd mention like I'd mention one thing and you'd be like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh, I don't remember when that happened in the book, so I'm just not gonna say anything because I don't remember where that is. I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? So I was like,
Yeah.
it's safer if I don't say anything. It's fine.
So,
But
coach's daughter babysitting his kid.
hmm
She's also a pastry chef who is supposed to be doing like this big run. She's like in very high demand.
she
And
won like the biggest award you can
the
win.
James Beard Award, I want to say.
Yeah, for like chefs and bakers and if
Yeah.
you're in the culinary world, you want to win that. And once you win that, you're like Michelin star good.
And she's
And
like
she
booked out
kind
for
of
like
had
years.
Yeah, but she kind of had a crash out where she was like, I don't like this anymore. I don't know why I don't like it. I should like it. And
Well, also it was
so,
definitely it starts off with like her getting sexually harassed in her kitchen and basically
yes.
being like, fuck this, I quit. And then
Yeah.
also realizing, oh, that was probably a good decision, which is
Yes.
why she's double fisting beers at 11 o'clock in the
Yep.
morning to go talk to her dad and tell
It all
him that
makes,
she quit.
yeah. Which is how she ends up with him on the road or with the baseball team either way.
Yeah.
which is convenient for the sake of the story.
And she's like living in a car and because she travels so much, so she lives in her
Yeah.
van. And Kai really doesn't like that. Keeps trying to get her
Because
to come inside.
her whole job is like going around to like bakeries or pastry, what is the word? Not pastries.
She's a
She goes around
seasonal
like
like dessert
rescues,
chef.
yeah, like she's like you need like a menu to like get you guys on the map. I'm gonna create the menu and like help you get there. But she creates all of it out of her own head
Yeah.
because she's that good.
And also
So she
because of
does
the
travel a lot
award, she has an interview coming up in like September, I
for
want
the
to say.
magazine, yeah.
Yeah.
And she has to have like a whole
So,
new menu and
menu.
dishes completed by then. So there's a lot going on. She's got a lot going on.
I will say literally one of the best parts of the book, and I typically don't love children in books because I feel like it's hard for me to relate to.
Yeah, I get
Um,
that.
Although I will say the last one I just read, Wild Side, was also really good, with like the kid part of it.
Yeah.
This one though was so cute because one of the things that gets her back into like loving baking,
Mm-hmm.
because she's always said like she loves baking for family. Like that was like her biggest thing was like she wanted to give people like that
The
joy that comes
connection,
with
yeah.
baking.
And it was like the basic like chocolate chip cookies or brown, like the stuff that like anybody can make, but like that's the stuff that everybody loves because
Yeah.
you bring it to like a gathering and people whatever. So not the
And
high
it's made
end,
with love instead of like precision and
yeah.
technique.
And like it's not supposed to look a certain way, sort of thing.
And so
Yes.
one of the cutest scenes in the book is like they're home for a while, they're on a stretch, and she's watching
Mm.
Max and they start baking together.
What?
And by that I mean he's like sitting in a high chair, like watching her and playing with
Just
flour and
kind of
being like,
vibe it. Yeah. It's
it
so
was just,
cute.
it was literally one of the cute, and like it brings back her passion. Kai
Yeah.
almost cries.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally so adorable.
It's one of my favorite things about like I guess personally the reason I like single dad tropes a lot is especially I think this one does it the best is the way you kind of end up seeing her fall in love with Max as like a little boy and like she ends up like caring for him like he's her own and then Kai's like she's also falling in love with Kai and it's like a just all around wrapped up you're like oh my god
Yeah.
how like it's just and Max made I feel like I just love Max. He's the cutest kid in the entire like he's fictional. I am fully aware, but like I love him. He's so cute. Also, let it be known Kai is like the only glasses wearer out of all of these athletes and gets me weak in the knees sometimes, so
He
we'll
has
take
like a
it.
reverse Superman thing going
Yeah,
on.
like the Clark Kent, yeah,
Yeah.
baseball kind of thing. Yes. So,
Also, like he's like the old man of the team.
yeah, like he's
I
almost
will say
the
this
old
one,
man. He's probably like 32.
well, yeah, no,
Like
literally.
it's in
Um,
sports.
but especially for a pitcher, like
Yeah, baseball. I
he's
know it's very rare.
up there. Um, I will say, especially coming from the right move and how well Ryan and Indy were written and how complete they felt.
Yeah.
I felt like Kai could have used a bit more character development in this book. I feel like he like
Yeah.
it was cute and it was easy to love, but I think there were some
Like plot
things I
holes.
not plot holes, but just some things I would have liked to have been
Like cat.
resolved.
Yeah.
Um, Also like the engagement part feels like a little fast to me.
Yeah.
But again, really cute overall. I really love Miller falling back in love with her passion, like opening like a patisserie and
Yeah, the way that's I feel like the focus of it that like she ends up falling in love, but he's like really the reason she ends up realizing what she's passionate about what she does, but just changing the direction of how she does it in a way.
I think this book feels like a self-healing and
Yeah.
self-love journey from Miller that Kai helps with, and
Yes.
they end up falling in love through that, which is cute.
Yeah.
But it,
But it kind of focuses more on her than you don't get as much of him development wise as you
yeah,
do with her.
like he's
But
struggling with like retirement and like his own issues, but I think like
yeah.
you can tell who he is really early on and he doesn't really move anywhere because like if you can see through the bullshit he puts up in the first 5 chapters, you're like, okay, I know who
Yeah.
Malachi Rhodes is and I understand where he's going to be
Mhm.
going, and this is Also, like the amount of like
Yeah,
setup for the next book that is in this one felt a little heavy
it's a
in
lot.
comparison to the other ones
Yeah,
because the next book focuses on Kai's brother, Isaiah.
who plays for the same team.
Yeah, so like, and also
So
like the love interest is also in this
prominent.
book, and
Yeah,
so
it's
it's,
all very wrapped up in the same
yeah,
little world.
it feels a little bit more like, oh, like there's a lot going on, I think, and I think the story would have benefited from like a little bit more of a zoom in, I
Like slowing
guess.
down, yeah, and like focusing. Yeah, I
It
agree.
definitely, I think, could have been longer. And I
Oh
think
yeah, absolutely.
I want to say it's no, I don't know which.
Tell me to see which is the longest one.
Well, no, Rewind It Back, I think, is the
Well,
longest.
yeah. I'm gonna see
Actually, I don't
if
know.
Rewind It Back is 491 pages. It's only telling me Kindle though. Hold on. That's annoying.
Okay, so I have Mile High. The edition that I have is 603 pages.
You're right. Per Goodreads.
The Right Move
The
is
right move is
499.
yep, that's what Goodreads says too. This one, wow, imagine if it's smaller, I'm gonna like
Caught Up is 408. No,
yep. Yeah, that's what it says. Unless yours is longer.
no, it's a different edition. Hold on. 406, actually.
Goodreads says play along is only 384. I feel like that's incorrect.
That's an ebook. Hold on. 382 is what I have for Play Along.
That's insane though. Well, I guess that makes sense.
And then
But
Rewind It Back. Oh, wow. Rewind It Back is 432.
so Mile High is like way longer than
So,
everybody else.
wow, that's crazy
That's
because it doesn't
crazy.
look. I think Rewind It Back is also printed on like different paper, so it looks
Yeah.
bigger, but it is less dense, I guess. Okay. But Caught Up just feels shorter, but also feels longer, if that makes
I think 'cause
sense.
there's a lot going on, but it has a very fast pace. If that makes any
Well,
sense.
it covers like 3 months.
Yeah, so like I don't know how to explain it. Like there's a lot jam packed into a very small space,
Yeah.
and there's a lot to focus on, so not everything gets the same amount of like love as it should in that plot line, I guess. But
I will say, like, it was a very cute book. I
yeah,
think Kai as a main male character probably ranks fourth on my list.
I
Mm.
think that makes sense. I would put him in the same
I have a very solid one,
spot.
two. Three and four get a little smushy for me, and then five is
Smushy.
Xander's.
Yeah,
And it's literally just because like it only goes up from Xander's.
true. That's what I mean. Like there's no bad one.
Also,
It's just like
grand gestures aren't my favorite thing, and I feel
yeah,
like him running off of a Stanley Cup parade
yeah.
with cameras following him to go do a massive love confession on national television is
It's
just
a
not
lot.
like I do
It's a
not want
lot.
a public proposal. And so like
No.
that kind of thing for me, like that would give me anxiety. And so that's I
Yep.
think why he falls lower for me is just because like I'm not like a grand gesture in public person.
And it's the personal preference too. Like
Yeah.
some people are gonna be all over that, which I love that for you. But yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, no, no.
And I would like to note it has literally nothing to do with his race because everyone on
Oh,
TikTok is like, if you don't like Xander's, you're racist. And I'm like, fucking Ryan Shea's my favorite.
do people? I'm.
And then people are like, well, you don't like Stevie because she's bigger. Like that was a another thing. And I was
I
like,
am so.
or it's
Why do we
Liz's
put things on
first
the
book,
internet?
and so things got better and characters got easier.
Yeah.
Like, anyways.
Anyway, Caught Up
So
is a good one.
Caught Up is good. I think,
That was my introduction to this series,
yeah.
and I love the way it's written. I like the premise of it. It's very, I don't want to say it's basic, like the tropes included, I guess, can be overdone, but the way it's written and comes across was very, I don't want to say different, but like
I
original?
will say it's like the third enemies to lovers in a row
It
though.
is. Well, yeah, I get, yeah. That's
And so I think I was kind of bored with that concept by
why
the
does it
time
low
that we
key?
got
Why does
there.
it low key go through all five of them
No, it does. Like literally all five of
in
them
their own
kind
way?
of have an enemies to lovers, but
Yeah.
I think when I got to this one, it felt, well, I wouldn't say four is enemies to lovers though.
No, it's like dislike.
I don't even know if it's dislike. I think it's more like indifference,
Yeah, maybe.
which we'll get there in a second. But
Yeah,
it
but
just it felt like a little repetitive, I think. And again, I read literally all of these in like a
yeah,
week. So that's my fault. But it was good. 5 stars
it's good.
still.
I love it. It is still 5 stars. It's a fun. It's a. I feel like when we get to the next one, you also get. It's a different like world outside of the hockey baseball, not hockey basketball part. Um, but I also feel like it's much more of a setup for the fourth book than the others are for the other books, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, because I think also because they overlap.
That's what I mean. Like it's
So
so intertwined that you get some of it in the first two, but they're still not as together as these two are. It's good. Go read all of them, but like that one's fun.
yeah. So moving on.
We're almost there.
We have Play Along, which is the fourth book, and it features Isaiah Rhodes, who is Kai's younger brother,
Mm-hmm.
plays for the same MLB team, just
What
got
is
traded there recently.
Yeah, why do I not remember what position he plays? Shortstop?
Shortstop?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes, shortstop.
I think so. I was gonna say. I think it's shortstop. Because if it was anything else, I feel
And
like I'd forget.
also a playboy, and his love interest is once again an issue for me. It is their physical trainer.
Yeah, like the athletic trainer, Dr.
However,
Kennedy. Is
I
it
ate
Jones?
this book up. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Kennedy K, actually. You
Kennedy
know,
Cat.
all of them
That's
have
right.
the same initials.
Um, I think the reason this one hit so hard for me is because you see like the buildup in Caught Up so often that by the time we got to this one, I was like, "Ugh, I
I
already know what's going
also
on."
I love the way I'm trying to remember. Hold on.
Also, I loved this is very like not parasocial. That's the wrong word. But I had what I'm sure we'll get this too. I had a very strong like love or connection for Kennedy because of the way, again, being a lovely woman in sports, the way her story develops and the way she ends up not only working in her field but like standing up for herself and proving that she belongs there,
She is the
deserves it.
kind of woman in sports representation I wanted out of
Yes.
Stevie.
Yeah. In a very different way. Like, yes, I think it obviously comes across different because she works for the team and it's very much I just her like character arc, because that's what we're calling it, was very well done in the sense of like I was reading it and was like, wow, I can relate, or wow, I really love it. And that part of it was very well done. But I also in the beginning I was like, girl, what are you doing? But it ends up working out. But I
So,
also yeah,
yeah, I think the thing that makes this book so fun is because we end caught up in the epilogue,
yeah.
finding out that Isaiah and Kennedy are married, which is
Hmm.
weird because the entire book Isaiah's trying to flirt with her and Kennedy's like,
Won't
"You
go
need to
like does
get
not
the
give into it.
fuck away from me."
Hmm.
And then
Because Kennedy, unlike Stevie, is very aware that she's the only woman in this room working with male athletes. And she's like, I can't do that. I'm going to lose my job. And I worked really hard to get this job.
she like
And
doesn't go out with like she's friends with Miller and
she,
caught up to
yeah,
and she's
like
very
she
clear about the
won't
boundaries.
be seen with them. She won't like interact with them outside of her actual job. And Isaiah's like, I don't care. I like you.
Yep.
So
But like the
again, that
way that
was,
he does it also seems more endearing than how Xander. So
It
again,
is.
I think it's because the way that I view Xander's is like he sees Stevie as like a prize to be won in the first few
Mm,
chapters, where it's like again, he literally wants to fuck her
yeah.
and like be
Isaiah's
done with
like
it kind of, where
he's just
Isaiah's
like a
literally puppy dog in love with
no, he's
Kennedy.
like the lover boy, like I'm obsessed with you because I'm like I think you're cute and I'm gonna do anything to prove to you like I'm worth it. And also like he's just such a fun character. Like when we see him in Kai's book, we're just like, oh, I like he's just this fun little brother this guy
Yeah.
has and you love him. But the epilogue leaves you on like a, I guess we call it a cliffhanger.
You're like, why did these two get
Because
married?
you're like, why are they getting married? And then the book pretty much doesn't pick up there, but
No, it
leads
starts with a
you into
prologue.
it. Yeah,
It starts with 3 years ago when he
which
first
is
met Kennedy,
so good.
which is the worst day of both of their lives,
Yes.
basically. And he finds out Kennedy's biggest secret, which is that she is, in fact, overqualified to hell for her job.
Yep. But her
Because when
boss is a man.
she applied, I think, as Kenny.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is
and
a literal nickname that she does go
yeah,
by
no,
and valid.
I've had people call me Kenny as a nickname. So
Oh,
like
oh, I never thought of that.
I get it. It's a
Okay.
nickname that exists for women, and I also understand like using, especially as someone who has a name that can be put into like a man's, like I go by
Yeah.
Max sometimes, and it definitely changes how people view you.
Yep.
Um,
And she's aware of that, which is why she does what she does, which
and so
again,
she gets there, and the head doctor basically is like, "We're no longer hiring for this position
because she's a woman.
because she's a woman,"
I hate
and
it.
HR is like, "You have to give her something because we hired her," and so he gives her like basically like a glorified internship, I want to say, for like physical training.
Yeah, like the entry level athletic trainer job that you could
But
get with no
everyone can tell she is fantastic at her job.
hmm And like no matter what she does, her boss is just like, you can go do things like the water boy does, or like
Yeah.
the male trainers that are like her like counterparts like get to do things that she doesn't get to do. So yeah,
So
it's prom.
it's Isaiah's worst day of his life because it's the day that his mom died
Yeah.
in a storm in a car accident.
hmm
And then we pick back up and they're in Vegas on this trip
Yeah.
with their team. And
For her, she's
she's
there
there for a bachelorette party.
of her. Is it her ex-boyfriend? No, ex-fiance. This is the ex-fiance one.
Ex-fiance and sister-in-law.
Law, who end up
Or
being, yeah, like would have been her sister-in-law.
yeah. No. Yes?
Wait, I hate the in-law thing because it always trips me up. Confuses me. No, it
Hold
was her
on.
best friend, wasn't it?
I'm trying to
Why am I?
remember.
I know it's her ex-fiance, and I can't remember. It couldn't have
Stepsister's bachelorette party with her
stepsister.
ex-fiance.
There
Okay,
we
there we
go.
go.
I was like, it's gotta be a sister somehow, but I can't remember if it was her best friend or not. So she's in Vegas for that,
She's in Vegas for that. He's in Vegas for his trip, and they meet up and
accidentally.
yeah, in a
Yeah,
bar.
accidentally.
And again, she is like, I cannot talk to you.
Yeah.
I will
She's
get
very
fired.
persistent about it.
And like she's already drunk, he's already drunk, and he's basically is like, let me get you one drink.
hmm
And if you want to leave,
You can
you
leave.
can go. And I think that also at this point of the book, like she's entertaining other offers from people and like,
Yeah.
or like at this point in her career, like she's looking at like leaving the team anyway. So I think that in her mind, she's like, I get fired, I get fired.
Like what's the harm in it? Yeah.
And he's so cute. On their way to go
I
buy a
just
drink, he buys her
those
sneakers
vans.
and
Ugh,
they're her wedding shoes because they get shit
married.
faced
Yep.
and they go get married. And then they get
Which
back to work.
yeah.
What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
I think it was just about the fact that like the wedding scene itself is so chaotic. And then like they get up the next morning and she's like, how dare you trick me into doing this? I would never agree. I hate you, blah, blah, blah. And Isaiah's just like, are you kidding me? Like, I know you said it. Like, you agreed
I
to do this.
I will say chapter 4 is one of my favorite pieces of writing ever,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to read some of it to you.
Please, what? The way you said that, like, I'm gonna go. Please do.
So
I love
it's
this part.
I'm gonna read the whole thing.
Reading
Hold on.
Ken's on the pod today.
Oh, let's see how I do. Okay.
How much are you gonna
I don't
read?
know, we'll see. I don't know why he's looking at me like that, but then again, I think he always looks at me like that. My skin feels funny, like it's on fire, but I'm also cold. I think I like when Isaiah looks at me. These shoes are comfy. You know I can't say no to you, he says. That's what I'm hoping for. The words feel silly. I don't think my tongue is connected to my mouth. What is he even talking about? Oh, a wedding. I need to pick a wedding date. That's what my mother always told me. My mother. She's not very nice. Connor always said I need to pick a wedding date too. I don't think I like him enough to do that now, but I think I can pick a wedding date now. Tonight, Isaiah is nice. He's handsome too. Why did I always ignore him? Because I knew he'd get me in trouble. I've never been in trouble. I follow the rules. I was a perfect daughter. Where did that get me? Maybe if I would have gotten in trouble, my parents would have noticed me. I want to get in trouble. I want to date. I can't wait to date. For the first time in my life, I get to date without thinking about marriage. Marriage. Isaiah shakes his head. Wait, why did he start spinning? You'll hate me in the morning. I don't see how that's much different than how I feel about you now. I don't hate him, not even a little bit. Isaiah bites his bottom lip to hide a smile, I think. To be honest, he's mostly a blurry figure who keeps me standing upright at the moment. I take the cup from his hand and drink it back. It's water, I think. The water from the fountain is pretty. Isaiah is pretty. It's just an arrangement. Connor came from a wealthy family, and so did I. This was a business arrangement. This is a revenge arrangement. They're
Hmm.
practically the same thing. That's all marriage has ever been, an arrangement. I can feel myself speaking. I know Isaiah is responding. He smirks down at me, and that little birthmark right by his eye gets lost between his smile lines. I want to lick it.
Yep. Also, can I say, let it be known that's what the inside of my brain sounds like literally 24/7. In case you want to know, even if I have no alcohol in my system, that is what my brain sounds like at
But
all
just
times.
the way that I was reading that when I think I literally closed the book and went, I sent you a picture of it and I went, I love when authors do this because it's so fun to read it and like literally read it like drunken.
Yeah.
It's so
It's so good.
good.
So good. It's ugh,
So they get married.
yes.
I don't know how anyone in Vegas let them get married, but they
Me
got
either.
married.
But like it's Vegas. Anything flies.
You still have to be like
Well,
sober, and she's
yes.
pissed, by the way.
Yeah.
Like
Which
when she
makes this
wakes up.
whole thing better, especially in the beginning, how mad she is. I'm like, and
So,
Isaiah's just unfazed. He's like, okay,
and they take a
whatever, you're
picture
my
outside of
wife.
the chapel that ends up
On the
on the
paper.
newspaper.
Yeah.
And so they get called into the office and she's
Because the
ready to
team
be
sees
like,
it.
this is a mistake and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And he, without speaking to her, goes, no, we're married. We're married. This is serious. We've been dating for 3 years.
Because he doesn't want her to lose her job.
Yep.
And so in his head, he goes, we can just pull this off and make it like have it be fake long enough that you stay here for your time, you get the second job. She's applying for a job
Seattle, I
in
want to say.
Seattle to be the head physician at with that team.
Which also
So,
only Isaiah knows because he
yes,
overheard that
he's not
conversation.
supposed to know.
So he's not supposed to tell anyone that she's
Yeah,
applying for that job.
but he does all of this like to vouch for her so she gets to keep her job to end up getting her
Dream
dream
job.
job.
Yep.
So he like even though he I don't want to say loves, I guess loves her,
He's he's literally
infatuated with her. He goes out on the limb is like, I don't, this is not about me, despite it, like, I like you and I've been going after you for X many years. I'm doing this for you, so you keep your job. And he understands, like,
he's literally sacrificing his
yeah,
emotions to let her move across the country.
yes. And he's aware. I also liked about Isaiah is that he was after, I don't know if he was fully aware the whole time, but he was very aware of how like her boss treated her. And that's why in his head
He
was
keeps
like,
trying to get her to speak
yeah,
up and
and he's
everything.
just like, no, I'm gonna do this so you get to keep your job and like be better for it in the future,
Yeah.
like selflessly. Which again,
No, it's so good.
just I I don't have these are fictional men. The way I wish they were real is so insane.
And this is why I have to take breaks from romance novels half the time is because I
I
get so in my
know
head that no man is ever going to live up
because
to
they're
the
not
hype that I'm
the
like,
men written.
this is
Yeah,
horrible.
when they're written by women, top tier.
That's all I
Get
want in
them off
life
the
is a
page. I
man written
know.
by a
I
woman.
agree. I agree. Oh, yeah.
So, also fun like note is that he's colorblind
Yes, which I
and
loved.
she has what is described as like the most beautiful shade of red hair.
Yeah.
Um,
Which he asked his teammates to describe her hair color to him so he could. I just.
but that's another like gesture that we get like later in the book from her, which is really cute to
Hmm.
see is she gets I think for their like literal wedding, like when they get like remarried at the end of the book, because eventually like they fall in love and da da
Of course
da,
I
and
do.
yeah, like it's a romance novel.
Yeah.
It's an HEA,
Mhm.
which is a happily ever after. Um, she buys him like the glasses that let pe colorblind people see in color, and
Yeah.
he literally is like, "Oh my God, that's what my favorite color looks like." And he doesn't know what
Hmm.
that color is, but he knows that what that color
He
is,
calls
and
it like
it's
Kennedy K Red or something, right?
Candy K Auburn, I want to
Auburn
say.
or something like that. But like he literally was like, "Hey, you gotta tell me what color that girl's hair is," and like that's the only reference he has to it.
Yeah, I think it's also like
But
noted that he's like a huge playboy like his entire life, and then the second he realizes that she's actually available because her ring comes off,
she was engaged, yeah,
he stops sleeping with other people, stops
and she doesn't
entertaining
know
other
that.
people. No
So she's like, "Oh my God, you've been sleeping around, like seeing less people," and he literally has not gone out with anybody. And I think it was like what, 2 years?
months.
It was wild. It was like almost a
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Also, my other favorite thing about this is going back to um Isaiah, the way Isaiah and Kai's mom passes away in the car accident in the thunderstorm. He's like deathly terrified of thunderstorms because he lost someone significant
Yeah,
during a
at a
thunderstorm.
very young age.
Yeah, so his whole thing is that no matter where he is when it's thundering, and even if the people he cares about are not like physically in the same spot where it's thundering with him, he gets on the phone or physically sees said people and makes sure that they're okay,
And he makes sure that no one is driving.
that they're not, yeah, like they're in, like, are you home? Are you safe? Not moving, whatever.
And I
And
will note, it does take him a while to admit that to her.
yes,
But like she can always tell that
you can
they
kind of
are
infer,
both very emotionally intelligent with the other
yeah.
person.
But the scene where she literally goes to him
Well,
in,
no, you have to explain the whole thing.
oh,
He's trying to get in contact with her and like
yeah.
freaking the
Why does
fuck
she not? Why do I not
out.
remember why she doesn't?
Because I think she was like on her way home from something, and
And
the
she doesn't
reason
get her
she's
phone
not
or something?
answering is because she's
Driving.
no.
No, why? Why am I not
The
remembering
whole
it?
grand gesture that you were just about to
Yeah.
explain.
Oh. Yeah. So he's going through his rounds of calls to make sure everybody he knows is like in their house, not moving, whatever. Miss Kennedy over here knows that he's alone,
Because
clearly
like
during
he
this.
like doesn't sleep when there's thunder.
Yeah,
Like
like
he has a really
he's
hard time
very, very
functioning.
hard time. So she doesn't answer his calls or texts when he gets to her because she's literally driving in, I guess, pouring rain, thunders. What are you doing?
She's not driving. That's the whole point. She runs to
No,
him.
yeah, you're right. In my head, I'm like, yeah,
She
the
runs like
movement
8 blocks
in the pouring rain, thunderstorm.
because
I
she
hate
will
these
not get in a car because he knows that he'll
but to, yeah,
be
and to
upset with
get
her
to him,
to make sure that he's okay. Yeah, and that's why she's not answering her phone.
yeah,
It's so good.
unmatched.
I also
I
will
also
note
just
that
love them falling
because
in love too. Like this whole, oh,
yeah.
so good.
Well, because they're married, the team is like, thank God we can just put you in one room.
Yeah, we got a
And
classic one
because
bed
they're married,
situation.
one bed. Yeah.
Yep,
But he sleeps on the floor. This
yep.
professional athlete sleeps on the
He's
floor.
just such a.
And then, of course, because she's the physical therapist person, she's like, you're
You have
making my
problems.
job harder.
Yeah, but it's so good. So
And also, like, I will say, like, I don't love it. So so there's a new female GM in town
yeah,
or
the
owner.
current owner's granddaughter.
Yeah.
He's retiring
So
and he's leaving it in her hands.
she's like shadowing this year and then she's gonna like take over the season after.
Yeah.
And it's just she starts noticing the way that Kennedy's treated, and then at some
Hmm.
point, like there's inklings that Kennedy's leaving. So Kennedy then has an interview. It goes really well.
Yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot about this part too.
They are doing I don't remember the exact plot point, but they're doing something, and Kennedy leaves and gets a call, and she comes back in and goes, "I didn't get it."
Yeah,
And
I
then we
remember where
find
they
out
were.
later from another character that she did in fact get the job. Oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
also because we forgot to mention that there's like their high school rival in baseball
Oh my God,
is
what's his name?
Kennedy's stepbrother.
Yeah, what the heck's his name?
Um, shit.
I don't remember. Yeah, Isaiah hates him.
Yeah.
And they explain the reason why they both don't like each other. I
Well, because he
completely forgot
steals
about
every
that.
single girlfriend that
Yeah.
Isaiah
Oh
has.
my God.
I
It
can't
starts with
find
a
his
D, I
name.
thought. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Dean?
Kennedy?
I want to say it's her stepbrother.
Yeah. Why are they not telling me?
Also, him taking her to Chili's was so cute.
I know.
So cute.
They're not even telling me. The internet is failing me.
I want
Dean.
to.
It is
It is
Dean.
Dean. Okay.
Dean Cartwright,
Yeah.
stepbrother. Correct.
I think he finds out from Dean that she did get the job.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Well, why didn't you take?" We got cut off. But I like don't remember the exact plot points, but she's basic there he's basically like, why didn't you take it? Why did you tell me you didn't get it? Like da 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 da. Um and she's like, because I'm not leaving you. I think I like
Hmm.
you too much. And he's like, okay, but you're not gonna keep getting treated the way that you're being treated.
Yeah.
Like we're not doing
Again,
that.
we love this man.
And so I think she like calls back and is like, okay, I'll take the job, whatever. And like the day that she goes to quit, she goes into the new owner's office, and the owner's like, actually, I want to talk to you.
Hmm.
So the entire team ended up submitting complaints on your
Reports.
behalf that the doctor's being super misogynistic. And like
Hmm.
I've noticed it, the coach has noticed it, the whole team has noticed it. So he's fired. Do you want the head position here?
Hmm. And the reason the whole team put complaints in was because Isaiah was like, I'm doing it. And like, he kind of, I guess, rallied everybody.
I think he probably was like, "Are you guys
I was
seeing
like,
this too? Because if you're seeing it, you
yeah.
should say something."
But it was like, hey, we're doing this. And then but it was like,
Because it didn't seem like anyone was forced to do it.
no, but it was kind of like, hey, we're doing this for Kennedy. And everybody's like, yeah, we're on board for it.
Because everyone loves her because she's
Yeah,
so good at her
exactly.
job.
And I kind of, this is me pulling a you. I kind of saw it coming as soon as we met the female GM. I was like,
Oh
oh, she's gonna
yeah.
get the job. Like, and I love that because I love, like, but but like the idea that she got to stay there because I was like, she's not gonna leave. But
And hire her own. But also like so there was also part of the book where he called his agent and was like, just so you know, like his contract was up or whatever. So he was like, just so you
why
know,
do all of them have contracts up
because it's
at
a
all times?
it's one of the
I
only
know.
things you can do with an athlete that makes it
I know,
entertaining.
true. It's a
Um,
conflict.
and on national news, basically, his coach finds out that he's requesting a
He
trade to
put a trade
Seattle.
in. Yeah.
Or not even like put a trade in, but I
And
think like he's like
she didn't
asking
know.
around.
Yeah,
No,
like
she didn't know either.
he was like open to be moved when he was like, "No, I'm playing here forever."
Yeah.
Also, we haven't mentioned it yet. Kai retires in this book, and that
Yeah.
alone, the whole like ceremony and everything, I was like, "Guys, I'm gonna cry."
I
Like
was
this, I know
crying.
I was too, but I was like, "Could we not do this?" I was like, "Please." Which that's a whole other thing too, because like Isaiah's always wanted to play on the same team as him, and like now he's like, now my brother's not playing here, and like the girl I love isn't gonna be here, so like what is keeping me in Chicago anymore? So it was kind of like a perfect storm where he was like, I can go. Like there's nothing holding me here anymore that
And he was like
I
in
need to be here
demand
for.
enough too, where like he
Yeah,
could
because he's
have.
good. Yeah. But I remember, yeah, it was like, no way. Like everybody found out like he just would would have been traded to stay with her and like let her live her dream, which is why this is the difference between like again him and Xander's where he was like I'm aware he's good enough but like he was like I can do this wherever else to let the girl I love have her dream job and do it the way she wants, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean
But
like wherever Stevie and Xander's would have gone if they were still like
I just
again,
need
if
a
they were
level of
already married, it's a different
self-awareness.
situation. But I
Yeah, true.
think, again, it felt like Isaiah was willing to risk it all, take a lower
Yes.
contract,
Like
whatever it was, to
over and over
go
again.
be with her.
Hmm.
Is Xander's just wanted to be with Stevie at the risk of
Yeah.
her job.
Yeah. That's probably
Which,
a better
like,
way of putting it. That's what I meant.
yeah, I don't
I
know, like
was
the way that
like,
it feels for Isaiah and Kennedy, also because like they literally, like the team found out after they literally legally got married.
yeah.
And like even though like they lied, like nothing actually happened before then.
No.
So like it's really hard for me to be like,
It was
well,
just
that's a
literally,
problem contract wise because I don't know what
yeah.
happens when you get married. But like
Hmm.
obviously the team was okay with it because they were married.
Yes. But
So
yeah, it's I love Isaiah.
he's good.
He was one of my favorites. He's just so fun and like I think again because you saw him a lot more through pretty much two books because you got him in Guys and he gets his own.
Yeah.
Um, and I love Kennedy's probably my favorite of the girls.
Yeah.
Like I think that's me because I guess I want to say I can relate to her, but like seeing her and like the
I think
job
I
she's doing and just the
yeah, I think
proper
I put
representation of women in sports.
Kennedy and then Miller is probably my like
Yeah.
one two.
Yeah. So she was very well written, developed. I loved how she came across on the page, so
And I think I'd put
win-win.
Isaiah at 3. And sometimes he switches with Kai at 4, which depends on my mood. But I would say he's at
Yeah.
3 pretty firmly.
Yeah.
I love that we're
So
gonna have the
fun.
same ranking.
Yeah, literally. But like
Same brain.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's I want to know if I now I'm like curious if other people have like insanely drastic different ratings.
Let us know in
So
the
I'm
comments
sure
if
there
you've read all
are.
5.
Bet.
So now we're gonna get
Last one. We've made it.
rewind it
We've
back.
made it.
Which
Took us forever.
speaking of people that we've seen throughout other books, we are finally getting to Rio's book.
Yes. Remember
And
the rookie we
Rio
mentioned all the way in the beginning?
is the
This
rookie
is
from the
Rio.
first book. And one of the reasons he keeps popping up throughout all the others is because he becomes like, you know
He's
how
like
like Matt
adopted.
Barzell is one of the girls when the Islanders wags hang
Yeah.
out? That is Rio, it feels
He's
like.
like he also he's like friends with the guys in the team, obviously, but like it's well known throughout the books that he becomes Indy's best friend.
Yeah.
So like he gets integrated into the friend group. He's like the known single friend. Like you see
Yes.
him all the time, no matter what.
Which is,
Um,
I think the funniest thing is that throughout all of the books, you're like, God, this man sleeps around
yeah.
so much. And then you get to his book and your world literally comes crumbling down. You're like, wait,
And
what do
out
you
of like
mean?
you think he just like literally sucks at like being a decent human being and like how can you not like why like how are you still single? Like what are you doing wrong? Like how is it whatever? And then yeah, but
So this is Rio's book,
this is Rio.
and it's
Finally.
Hallie's book.
Who we have not met, which I kind of loved.
Yeah,
We had no idea who she was
no.
before this book. So she's completely new.
And so I really do like the way that this gets introduced. And so he's living next door to this college student whose name is
Ren.
Ren Wilder,
Mm-hmm. And guess what?
which will come in handy because all of the females have double initials.
Yes.
Her and her brothers, because her brothers are famous like football players out in California.
Basketball.
I
One
think
is
there's a
basketball,
football,
one's
there's a
football,
basketball, and then there's
and one's
another one.
baseball, I think. Because Kai or Isaiah is like, oh yeah, we've been playing against them forever. And they didn't know,
Maybe.
I think.
But there's
Anyway,
definitely a football Hall of Famer type of character, and there's definitely a
yes.
basketball.
Because the basketball is the one who owns her house.
Yeah. Who Ryan Shea is obsessed with. So
Yeah.
Rio's level of obsession with Ryan Shea,
That's
which is
right.
so cute throughout the
Which is my
entire series.
favorite running joke of the
Yeah.
entire series
Because
ever.
Ryan's like always like
Who are you?
pretend freaked out by it,
Yeah,
and Rio's like, I love you.
yeah, literally.
Which is also
It's
so
so
hard
good.
when Indy and Ryan do have their third act breakup and Indy goes to stay at Rio's house and
Yeah,
Ryan comes over and says something to Rio and Rio's like, I don't know, man, it's Ryan Shea. I can't really go against
literally.
him.
It's so good.
It's literally so good.
I can't.
Um, so he's living next to this girl named Ren who doesn't
Correct.
really need rent to be paid, and she has a friend who redid her house.
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous interior designer, and she comes along to live with her. And she mentioned this to Rio. Rio's like, I love your house. I'm thinking about redoing mine because it's still like a gray slate, and either I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to be moving because my contract is also up,
Yeah.
or I'm going to be staying here and building a family. And so he hires this girl unknowingly to build him his
Redo his
dream
house.
house, which is not
Yeah.
his dream house, by the way.
That's for
And
the way you said that was like it's Barbie's dream house. You had the same like tone of voice, and I was like, yeah, it's Barbie's dream house, not Ken's dream house.
yeah, well, it's not exactly his dream house, but it
No, it
is, but
isn't.
it isn't.
It's
Um,
both.
and he has to like double take, and he goes, Hallie? You mean my ex
Which
from
he has no idea.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
Excuse me? The only girl he has ever dated, the only girl he has ever slept with,
Mm-hmm.
because he is going to wait for her. And this is
Yep.
such a yummy second chance romance.
Also, the friends to lovers
In the beginning,
arc in the
yeah.
beginning when like you get all their backstory is I
This is
love
a
and the next door
very
the girl next door it's just
this is a
forbidden too because they're
very
like your brother her older brother is like
yes.
nobody can date my younger sister especially not you Rio and
Yeah.
I'm like okay bro like
Well,
get
I
over
mean, I
it
guess because like all of his friends are trying to get with her, and he's like,
yeah
"Thanks, Rio, for being the only one who's not."
yeah and Rio's
And
like
Rio's like,
ha okay little do you know
"It's very different from the first four books. We do have a
yes
lot of flashbacks, and I think it's like super
I
fun."
liked it though yeah
As much as I put Rio as my number two man, I do struggle with that decision because some of the things that he does in this book rub me the wrong
what
way.
wait I need to know
I
which
don't remember what specifically, and this is part of the problem is that because I couldn't tell you anything while I was reading it because I read it before
oh
you,
sorry.
is that like I never typed out any of my thoughts, and
You should have
so
just like kept a
I
running
know,
note
I
to
know,
be like,
I should have.
hey.
It definitely, I think I texted you this. A lot of it reminded me of like a previous like
Oh yeah.
relationship that I've had, and so it was like hard to read.
It
Also,
was a
like
little yeah.
Hallie's dad has
Yeah.
cancer, and there
Mm-hmm.
was a parental divorce, and the ex reminded me of my ex, and I was like, just keep stabbing me, Liz Tomforde. It's fine.
Thanks for putting like yeah.
It was like cancer, stab, divorce,
Yeah.
stab. It reminds me of your ex,
And this
stab.
was yeah.
And then I found out that my ex may have looked at my TikTok profile, and I literally spiraled. It was all in the span of like a
You're like,
day.
no, sorry.
I'm not well. So I think
Yeah.
I have to read this book again at some point and like view it through a different lens because I do think I would love Rio a little bit more. But that's why I put him at two because I'm like I do like him. I think that I'm just holding like my own personal grudge against him.
Yeah, I don't that's why I was kind of I don't have any of that. So I was
Yeah,
like,
well,
well, a little bit of it, but not as like I was yeah. Minus all that, I was this felt for me, it felt very much like I don't know, like the like 12-year-old girl in me who always is like, yeah, I'm gonna get this cute neighbor and I'm gonna fall in love and we're gonna be like, best friends forever and whatever. And so that part I loved. Also, the entire time I wanted to like shake both of them because I wanted to figure out what happened so bad.
I will
And
say I caught on real early, and I think it took you a lot longer to
I
catch on than it did
I don't
me.
remember
And
when I
so,
kind of I also try and like I guess unlike you, I try not to predict things. I'm kind of like, oh, this seems like it's coming, but I'm not going to think
in
about it until
case
they tell me.
anyone's wondering, I will text Bree the second I have a prediction. It's typically like the first
Yeah,
half of the book.
I'm not that like I'll be like, okay, I acknowledge that, and then I'm like, I'm not going to come back
Yeah.
to that till they tell me I have to come
Well,
back to it. You know what I
your
mean?
reaction is always, how did you realize that early?
Yeah, I'm just go I'm because I think I'm more I like the plot, but I think I get more invested in the characters, like as their relationship, more than like I don't
I
want to make
just
the plot sound secondary, but I'm
I just
like, until
have
you
a
tell me it matters, I'm gonna think about it.
That's valid.
Otherwise, I'm like, okay.
It's the tism.
I
I don't know what to tell you. It's not by choice.
I did. I also like didn't want to like. I also like think it's embarrassing because I don't want to say something that's like wrong and then be like, "Girl, you're so off. It's not even correct in like any
Yeah, but
sense of the
it's
way."
fun sometimes.
But I kind of I like started putting the pieces together, but I was like, I'll wait till they say something. I'll wait till there's more like proving evidence to tell me that I'm right.
Well, so the
Um,
thing we're talking about is that
so
Hallie,
I
Rio basically bases his idea of love off of his parents
yeah.
and how much they love each other because they're also high school sweethearts and
And I think they met when they were 12,
or yeah, like middle
which
school,
is like
whatever,
literally when he meets Hallie. He
Hallie.
is 12
So,
at
oh
the
my
time.
God, we forgot to mention in Play Along that like the day that his mom died is the day
Oh,
that he met Kennedy, the day that his nephew was born is
then
the
the
day that his
wedding.
mom died, and then the wedding, the
Yeah,
day that they like decide to get married in
yeah,
Vegas is
for
also the day
real.
his mom
I
died.
forgot
So
about
he's
that.
like, it's all connected.
Now it's like a good day, and
Yeah,
like the sense of like it used to be something I hated, but now like all of these things happened in like on that same day, so something it must like mean
that's good.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
like
like
yes, I
his
did love
mom
that.
like sent him these
Yeah,
people.
like it was on purpose,
And so
which also made me
Rio,
cry.
yeah, Rio feels like the sense of like kindredness with his parents. And
Yeah.
then it comes to light that his dad cheated on his mom. And it also comes to light that around the same time, Hallie found out her dad has cancer.
hmm
And around the same time, you find out that Hallie knew that Rio's dad cheated on his mom and didn't tell them.
hmm
And you're like, why does she
And
know?
he
And,
didn't. She didn't tell him anything that was going on with her dad at the time either.
he didn't find that out
So
till
he knows not like
present day,
he's like blindsided by a whole lot of
all
things
of
all
it.
at different times. Yeah.
And so we find out at like very, very late in the book, way too
Yeah.
late for my liking. I think it should have come a lot earlier because I think that it
It
was
was like
kind of obvious.
4 chapters left, I think, if I remember
Yeah.
listening to it the right way. It was like we were getting to the end. I'm like, when are we gonna find out? Like, what are we wrap it
So
up?
I think what's difficult is that the second that it said that Hallie knew about the cheating, I knew it was her mom.
See, that's what I initially thought, and then I was like, that seems a little too predictable. And then we got to the point where she was seeing her dad in the hospital, I think, and she,
They like mentioned that her mom,
yeah, like she's not in the picture anymore. And then her dad, I think, says to Rio, like, oh, she said something unforgivable. And I was like, that seems a little fishy. Like, that
yeah,
seems like, and like, Rio clearly doesn't like his dad. Their relationship's on like, I guess the rocks. Like, they aren't on the same level. Like, he's really close with his mom, but not so close with his dad. So I was kind of like, okay, it looks like we're going in that direction, but I didn't want to like, it seemed like too easy, which is probably why I was like, I'll wait till they say that's where we're
yeah,
going with it. But it took like literally the almost the entire book
yeah. And I
for
think
them to
that
like
like,
outright tell you exactly what happened and how it happened, which was crazy to me.
and like it's like her mom basically like Hallie caught her mom and Rio's dad together, and her mom was like, "You can't tell anybody. You need to lie about this."
Specifically her dad, because her dad was sick at that point, and she's like,
Yeah,
this could literally kill him.
which is
And Hallie's like,
horrible thing to say to someone.
yeah, that's what she's like 19 or something at the time.
Yeah,
Like still, like nobody you say
18
this to
maybe.
anybody. Yeah, it's just so Hallie's like, well, now I can't tell anybody because she cares about her dad.
It was also like 2 weeks before Rio was supposed to move after getting drafted,
Yeah,
and she was
so
supposed
he
to go
never
with
found out.
him.
Yeah.
So like in his mind, she breaks his heart like right before he moves away.
hmm And then he
Um,
finds out that she knew.
well, that's how they break up, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like the
It just and
trajectory of it. Yeah.
I think one of the things that like icks me out the most about Rio is his like reaction to finding out that her dad is sick and then turning it on himself a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the way that it like played out was a little weird. I also feel like this book had more plot holes in it than the other ones did.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Not even plot holes, just more like gaps in like the
It did.
story that I would have
Yeah.
wanted addressed or like
Filled in.
yeah. And like he wants to go play for his hometown team. He doesn't know if he's gonna stay in Chicago.
Listen, the whole time I'm texting Ken's and like we're coming up to free agency, I was like, this man better not leave for Boston. I don't want him to leave. Like all of
Well,
his friends are in Chicago. I don't want him to leave Boston.
I
And I knew it. I
really
was like, there's no way it's gonna happen. But I was
I
like,
don't
no.
think I screenshot it, which is upsetting because hold on, I'm gonna search it because I need to find what you said.
Which was it? I
Okay.
sent a bunch.
You said
And almost all of them were in caps 95% of the time.
you said also I don't want Rio to go to Boston even though he
Oh,
said he's going to sign. And I responded, I said that's how everyone feels about Brad in Florida.
yeah. Which also me
Because
falling for the plot
I
line, which ends up being how he like he's saying to Indy, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sign. I don't know how to tell her. I don't know how she's gonna come visit me." And Indy's like, or not Indy. Hallie's like, "Oh my
Hallie
God, he's talking about
overhears
me."
it. It's
Yeah,
so
like she's like, "Oh my God, she's gonna go to Boston," and like really in reality, she gets to the conversation late, and like he's talking to Indy about his mom and like the whole thing. So, but I
yeah.
was like, "No way, he's gonna go to Boston." Yeah, so it was that
Well,
whole
yeah. And so
arc
like
of
back
it.
to like the home design thing, like she's like an aspiring designer and so she gets like this what her boss is like is a huge client, so she's gonna be able to stay on like forever basically if she does this.
Yeah, it's like an internship turned to an actual job, and like they're a high
Yeah.
end, and what did you call it? Like a
Interior
design
design
agency?
company. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like she originally is gonna like turn it down because she doesn't think she can work with him. And like over the course of the book, like she's literally designing like her dream house, which was his
which
intention because he
he
bought the
literally
house
tells
for
her.
her.
Yeah, and like my favorite part was in the flashbacks when like she's like the one specifically where she's like, yeah, I'd buy a big house and leave all the walls white and like this and then have like 4 bedrooms, like blah blah blah, whatever. And like at that point that's what Rio's house looks like or looked like when she got there. And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, this is genuinely just played Down Bad by Taylor Swift on repeat because that's what this man is. Like
Well, also, so part like one of the biggest parts of the book is that every night on her birthday, which
since she was
is March 8th,
13. Yeah.
um, they go outside on the roof of their interconnected houses and Hallie they like talk a little bit and then they go back to Hallie's room, which also is the only place Rio can sleep. Rio can only sleep with
Yeah.
Hallie,
Only when
which is
she's
really
in
weird
the
because
present. Yeah.
they've been apart for like 10 years and if that man didn't sleep for 10 years, he'd be dead. So,
Yes. He like
a little
sleeps
weird
but
on
not
him.
well.
Yeah.
He's like, I get the best night's sleep when
Yeah.
like she's there.
So
But
she has this thing that she does every year where she makes herself like a mixtape of like the most important songs. And I think one of the
the
cutest
last
things
year.
for me, yeah, is that over the course of their relationship in the flashbacks is every important moment becomes about Rio.
Mhm.
And so she throws all of her mixtapes out when they
Yeah.
break up. And he keeps
Mhm.
all of them.
Which I also saw coming, but when I got to that scene, I was like, also, this is probably really niche, maybe, but I've always had this again, coming from the most single girl you've ever known. I've always had this dream of like now it's like a Spotify playlist, but like when I was younger, I was like, I would think it'd be so cute for like the CD that's burnt with like songs specifically as a playlist and like someone made it for you. I That's like the romantic in me. That's not the right word, but I
Yeah.
love that part of it because I was like, she just came in, she's like, yeah, this is the thing I do, and like it slowly became
Like
a
their
thing about
thing.
Rio, and then at the very end, which I absolutely ate up, that my favorite thing ever was on. I think it was her birth. Was it not even her birth? It was her birthday, and he specifically made a playlist for her of their like last year together to like read because she doesn't. She's like, no, I don't do that anymore. She stopped doing it after they broke up, and like he's kind of like he kind of brings it back, but like in
Oh,
their
I'm
world
sorry.
to be
Does
like,
he bring it back or does he rewind
no,
it back?
but
Which I
my
will say, I love the fact that she does the title like
yes,
very nonchalantly. Like, oh, it's so good, so good.
so my favorite thing ever is like when you find like the actual title of the book in the
Yeah,
book, and I was so surprised when it was so early because she said it,
yeah.
and I was like, it's like
Because
chapter
all the
two.
other ones, well, I will say the other one that comes really early is Play Along,
Yeah, but that one
because
makes
that's
more sense
what,
because it literally is the whole plot.
but that's what Isaiah says to
Kennedy.
Kennedy is he's like, play
Yeah,
along, wife, play along,
yeah,
which is
and
so
that
cute.
one I love too. But like this one, I was like, whoa, we're
I
not
think
even far into it.
the one that like got my heart the most was definitely the right move where I don't remember I think it's whichever one of them is talking and they're like it was definitely like the right move to come here
Hmm.
and I like that one I was like
I can't like I just but yeah, I love the little remix. I also I texted Ken's about this because again I was just if I was standing when I was listening to this book, I'd be falling on the floor because it got me that bad. I don't remember exactly how we. It might have. I don't remember where it came up in the exact in the book part, but Hallie specifically, her last name's Hart. Hallie Hart, Hart, like hockey podcast, like the award that you can win. Um,
Thanks for going in that direction. I was
um,
really worried there for a
but
second.
she writes her heart like when she writes it as her last name, like she writes Hallie and like the
Yeah.
heart, like an actual symbol, and she like doesn't connect the bottom enough, so like there's like a tail. And Rio's aware, she still does it. Like he always like kind of covered up that little tail of the heart, whatever. And
Looks
my
like this for anyone
there we go.
wondering.
Oh, down there we go. There we go. Perfect little heart. My the part that one of the parts that made me just like stop, like, oh my God. Um, she finds out he got that exact heart tattooed like over I guess over where your heart is or where whatever on his chest somewhere. It's the exact heart that she drew, and I had to like pause the book for a second because I was like,
I didn't
yeah,
like that part.
you didn't. This happened.
No.
What was the other book I've read so many books so that's part of it.
So
But to me, I was like,
because my issue is when he got it.
oh, okay, that makes sense.
It was like not right after they broke up.
Wasn't
It
it
was
like
like
3 years
3 years,
after?
yeah, or something.
Something like that? Because it was like in between the time, like it was like right between, like they hadn't seen each other for 6 years. And he's like, I got it 3 years ago, which would have still
And
been
that's
like
why I don't
three
love it
years.
because it wasn't like when they were dating because he was old enough to get a tattoo while they were dating.
Yeah, true.
It wasn't right after they broke up, which I still think would have been
But I
weird.
think, wasn't it the whole idea like he knew he was going to wait for her?
But like to me,
I
that's
forget the
odd.
reasoning behind. Yeah, I know, but
And
like
I
in my head, I was like,
no, yeah,
uh.
it's cute, but I think for me it's like
The timing of it is very, yeah, like he just randomly was like, I haven't seen her in 3 years. I haven't had any contact. We had a huge falling out, whatever. It ended on bad terms. I'm gonna get a tattoo of her heart, of the heart. But I, in my little world, I was like, oh my God, here we
yeah.
go. So that was
I
okay.
think
So that one
just
makes
for
sense.
me because I'm like it's just a weird thing to do, I think, when you're not with someone
Yes,
because I know that like the whole premise of the book is like they both were like waiting for each other because like they didn't think anyone
which
was
we
gonna,
find out.
which it wasn't
Yeah,
even like waiting for, it was just like more so like for Rio it was,
they
but for
couldn't
her I think it was like no
find
one's ever
anybody.
gonna be as good
Yeah,
as him,
as him.
which
Yeah,
is
like
sucky.
the standard is like him, and nobody lives up to that standard because it's only that one person.
But I think so then part of my issue with this book is that it felt very
Patchy.
immature in that way
Yeah,
of okay, so you guys haven't dated in 6 years and you've grown up 6 years, but you've been stuck in the past for 6 years. So did
yeah,
you actually grow up at all in that time? And Rio is
true.
very possessive of her. Like,
Yeah.
because she's on a date when they first see each other again. She has like glass seats at his
Mhm.
hockey game. And he literally like almost gets like killed because he
Yeah.
sees her, which is
Stops
so
in front of the
weird.
yeah.
Um, and that one for me is just like, I don't know. It's like he's so possessive over her from the beginning. And I think that's like, I don't know, for some reason it like raised like alarm bells in my head. And if this
Like the
wasn't
red
a
flags.
fictional book, I feel like Rio would be a walking red flag.
Yeah,
And I think that's
I can agree with
why
that.
there's parts of it where I'm like, I don't love it.
Also, like I thought we kind of know throughout when we get to this book, like we are aware of how tight the friend group is of the four girls, four guys in
Yeah.
Rio. And it becomes known that like none of them have any idea Hallie even exists. Like he's never mentioned her, never mentioned anything happening. Like they literally all he wanted to come off as like I'm like a hopeless, can't find love, whatever, when it's really his own fault. Which I also thought was kind of weird because I was like, he tells them everything, they know everything about each other as like a friend group, and they've like for years, and even in this book, they're always constantly like, "Real, this girl I know is single," or like, "We can set you up with this person," blah blah, and he's like, not anymore, and everybody's like, "Whoa."
I think also just because like what? happens if you guys literally never crossed paths. Like they
That's
run
that
into each
too.
other pure fate,
And he is
basically.
no, she's been living there for like
6 months or something before they
yeah,
run into each
like,
other.
and he has never seen her. So like there could have been a time, like it's a city. Like you could never see that person ever again, like or ever in the first place.
I live within 5 miles of everyone I went to high school with. I don't see them ever.
I love that for you.
Oh, I love it for me too.
I wish that could be my life. I go to the gym and I see like 10 people I went to high school with. And I'm
Nope,
like,
they're all
oh,
new
okay.
characters. I feel
Ha!
like people's just spawned in my town, and I'm like, where did you come
But I
from?
love that. That's nice. Yeah, so
Which
there
is
was,
lovely.
I agree. Be good.
But like, I'm like, if I can do that in a town,
Yeah, in a city.
imagine
So
what
in
it's
a
like in
major city.
Chicago.
Yeah.
And so like the thing for me is I again, like I think like if I came to you and I
Mm-hmm.
went, "Hey, so my ex who you've never heard of,
Ken's, I would
who
immediately be saying
broke
no to whatever it
my
was.
heart so badly that I didn't think about anyone else for years."
Be
You
back.
you'd be like, "Mackenzie, we're gonna hit you over the head with a
Yeah.
shovel because what are you talking about?" And then like just the whole again, in real life, I feel like this would have been a red flag. However, the way that he acts when her dad does like have like a mini relapse is
Yeah, I was gonna
so
say that
good.
part. Yeah, when he
Because
drives.
he's gonna go to Boston. That's the game that he's supposed to play in Boston. His like entire family's there. All of his friends are there. And that is a game where he's going to get scouted to then go play for his dream team. And he literally
Mm-hmm.
picks up and goes back to visit her because her dad is
Yes.
sick.
Mm-hmm.
So good,
Yeah, I agree. And also, like, it's to be known too. So Hallie is an older brother, which you mentioned, Luke, I think,
I think.
right? Luke, it's gotta be Luke. I literally just read it and I forget. But um, so when like Rio and Hallie broke up, he stopped talking to Luke too, and they were like best friends for years. Like they grew up together, whatever. And so he goes to the hospital, like meets them in Minnesota because that's where her dad lives. They
Yeah.
he drives 6 hours, whatever, to get there. No, he got on a plane probably. I don't remember how he gets there, but he gets there. She drove.
Yeah.
Um, and he's kind of like, oh my God, I miss all this time with Luke too. Like I cut all these people out of my life, and like
Like he's
Luke isn't
married and has a
married,
kid.
has a
Yep.
kid, yeah. And Rio's like, oh my God, like I don't know if that was like an eye opening, but I kind of was like, I liked the uncomfortableness of it because I was like, that's
Yes.
not like this is not a moment that's not awkward,
And
and it came across like exactly how it's supposed to.
I did appreciate the very human nature of
Yeah.
the conversation between Hallie and Rio's mom at the end of the
That
book,
too, I really love
because
that one.
that was also very like Hallie
Yeah.
basically was like a daughter to Rio's
Yep.
mom. And so
And
she was
Rio's
like,
mom does not like her because she knows
yeah.
that Hallie knew before she
Well,
did.
because the parents were
Or
best friends and then the kids were best
yeah.
friends. And so like the whole ecosystem fell apart when this happened.
Yep.
And so Rio's mom, like I just that was written very well.
Yeah. That whole scene had me like, you know the emoji with like the little tears in his eyes? Like the little like that's how I looked listening to that whole part.
Valid.
But also that felt very like wrapping the bow, kind of tying the end of it to be like this is what happened, why it happened, and I because Hallie's whole thing and I got really scared. I hate I hate third act breakups most of the time. But I got really scared when she was like it either has to be like me or like Rio's gonna not talk to his mom and like it was like taking a toll on him and she's like I can't be the one
And that
to
made
interfere.
sense, unlike every
Yes.
other third ver
So I agree, but I was like, oh my God, they better not like they just got on good terms. We're just back to where it should be. Like better not end up breaking up because of this. And it went in the total opposite direction when she goes see her when she makes a trip to go see Rio's mom.
Yeah, because she
And
flies to Boston.
I was like, okay, this is how like I for a second though I was like, do not tell me we have this much of the book left and we're gonna get so it was very very well written. I liked how they like tied the bow on the past part and like then moved them forward
Yeah,
in the same sense.
I agree.
But
I also, the last like paragraph of this book
oh, I
really
just saw
killed me.
there's a post I shared on my story last night, which is like an aesthetically pleasing like layout of the books. And I didn't look at the rest of the post before I started like I shared it, which is stupid of me. So I started going through it and it's like all of the quotes from like what Rio says about all of them and like a specific like in order and I was like, I don't need to read it again. I just cried over
Yeah.
this.
Because the epilogue is kind of like all of them sitting around and being all happy, like
Yeah,
all five couples. And Rio kind of is like recounting the last however many years they've all been
like how
doing this
he's
together.
yeah, like how he's seen his friends grow and like what they've done in the time and like it was such a perfect way to wrap up the series. I was just every time he kept going and I was like, no, 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 no,
Well, the
no.
dedication of the book
I
is
know.
here's to the 10 characters, five couples, three teams, two sets of siblings, and one amazing friend group that changed my life.
It's
And it's a great dedication. And the way that the
devastating.
book ends, oh, it's so
I
good.
know. So good. I just
All
that
right,
was like
so
my favorite part.
we are running out of time, and I do
One of my
not want
favorite
to make a
parts.
new meeting. So
Yeah,
we're gonna speed
we've
run this.
talked way too long.
This is gonna be a long episode.
If you listen to this whole thing, I hope you've read these books before. 'Cause I don't know.
A
It's
little
become
bit, yeah.
excessive, yeah.
So book okay, main male characters in order. We both are putting Ryan Shea at number one.
Obviously.
We're putting Rio DeLuca
Rio's
at number
too.
two, which also the whole birthday jersey thing is so cute. Anyways,
Yeah, I was gonna say that,
um,
and like when he has to babysit all the kids and he's like terrified and he calls her to be like, "Hey, can you help?" And it's just
also the shower scene is
yeah.
immaculate.
The way I
Um,
texted Kez after that, I was sitting in my car and I get so self-conscious people can like hear things outside my car because it's loud and it's not loud at all. But I was dead serious sitting there and I was like jaw dropped for like 5 minutes because again,
yeah,
I listened to this as an audiobook.
I
A
do because this is
duet
the only duet, and
audiobook.
I think I need to listen
I
to it.
I was unwell. I had to walk into work after that, and I was like, "This life changing." It was insane.
So
Anyway,
yeah, the shower scene. Anyways, so okay, Ryan Shea, Rio DeLuca, Isaiah Rhodes, Kai Rhodes, Evan Zanders.
correct.
Okay, books in order,
Ooh,
or do you want to do females first?
no. I didn't really
Women.
think about that much about the girls. I guess
I think the Kennedy's my favorite. I think that's like the
I love
only.
Kennedy. I like Miller as like her character. I think I like her arc the best. Like her.
I think I would say Kennedy, Miller.
Who am I missing? I love Indy's.
I want to say
Indy's a
Stevie
sweet.
and Indy are tied for me,
Yeah,
and then Hallie. I love Hallie. I just she doesn't do anything for me
I agree. And we also like we didn't know her.
throughout all of them. Yeah,
Yeah, so like it was kind of like here's a new character and like you only get one book to know her and like the other ones you get so much more of. So yes, I
yeah.
agree.
I
Um
also just like as like a bigger woman, I think like I just resonate with Stevie a little bit, and she's also like a little
yeah.
spitfire, and I love her for
Yes,
it.
I
So
know. Puts them in their place. Book wise, I'm gonna put The Right Move first. So
yes,
I just nothing tops that one,
no,
and then it's fine. Second, um, I think I'm gonna make Play Along too,
I am too.
because I ate that book up. I read
Yeah,
it. I loved it. Um,
I want to say I read Play Along in like 5 hours.
it was so good. So good.
I didn't put it down.
I'm gonna say I don't know. I like the premise of Rewind It Back, but I don't know if I like it more than caught like they might be tied, like Caught Up and Rewind It Back. They might be tied, but I don't know if I don't know.
I will say when I first finished the whole series, I would have put Rewind It Back last.
Ooh,
Now that I've had a little bit more time to reflect on it, I think
like
for
get
me,
deep
my
in it.
final ranking is The Right Move, Play Along, Caught Up,
Yeah,
Rewind It Back, Mile
that's
High.
what I was gonna do.
And again, I love Mile High.
Mile High
It
again, but it's the
literally
first
just gets
book.
better.
It does, and like I feel bad because I feel like if any, I feel like the exception would be if The Right Move was first, that one would still be my number one.
Yes.
But
I do think that like the maturity shows between book one and two
yeah,
also
it
for
does.
like the
It
style
does.
of writing,
Mhm.
which like they're very like it's not like if you're not like an avid reader, you're not going to notice that. And
No.
it's nothing against Mile High.
Again,
It just definitely
it's a
is.
very good intro to the
Yeah.
series, but the next four books all have something that like rank it above that one for me.
But I don't
I
think
feel
you could have told it in a different order.
no,
I think it had
absolutely
to go
not.
the
Because
way
I
that
feel
it
like you have to
did.
know the characters in that order, yeah.
Yeah.
But not as having like the same list. Like all three,
Okay.
all three have the same
Um,
list. Are we
I am
surprised?
very excited for Monty's spin-off book, which is the coach and the dad in Caught Up
Yeah,
is dating Reese, who is the new owner of the baseball team. So I'm very excited for that.
we're so
And
excited.
this is Read Between the Blue Lines. It is a hockey podcast. We also talk about books, and you should go follow us on socials, and we will see you
Yeah.
next week.
Thanks for listening to this insanely long episode. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.